and to be completed.
Thank you. Chair, Tourism and Wildlife, that Kareke Mbuki. Any member of the committee? Yes, Owen Bayer, you take responsibility and inform him to bring a response in 2 weeks.
Much obliged, Honorable Speaker.
Mary Maingi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me this opportunity. I want to speak to two issues regarding the farmers of Moya constituency, the rice farmers. On the 20th of February this year, I requested for a statement from the Departmental Committee on Trade on the importation of rice into this country. Mr. Speaker, rice is the third consumed cereal in this country.
Mary Maingi, I gave you an opportunity to remind the House that you requested for a statement and it has not been responded to. I did not give you a latitude to open debate on the same statement that you requested.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am guided, but with your indulgence, I would like the CS for Trade and the CS for Treasury to come and explain to this House what he plans to do with the farmers or with the rice in Moya constituency, since I learned about import into this country of rice yesterday through a gazette notice. What does he plan to do with the rice in Moya constituency? Mr. Speaker, also allow me to speak to the issue of fertilizer. And I urge you to indulge the CS of Agriculture to come and explain to this House why the Moya rice farmers should not enjoy subsidized fertilizer like other farmers. We have written to the permanent secretary, to the principal secretary, Agriculture, on subsidized fertilizer through Moya rice growers, MRGM, and he doesn't seem to think it is urgent for us to enjoy the subsidized fertilizer. Mr. Speaker, I seek your guidance.
Thank you. On the fertilizer one, you remember you shared with me, and I've forwarded your concerns to the Minister of Agriculture. But Mutunga, I can see you here. Can you check out on why farmers of rice buddies in Mwea are not accessing subsidized fertilizer, when the policy is that each and every farmer, whether it's coffee, tea, rice, potato, maize, whichever crop, must be equally treated to access subsidized fertilizer?
I'll do that, Honorable Speaker, but the strategy is to have everyone receive for subsidized fertilizer, whether it is tea, coffee, rice, or the crops. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. And on the rice one, the Chair of Trade, she has spoken for you. Yes. Well, she represents Mwea. Does Nyanda also not, you get fertilizer? Okay, Mutunga. Chairman Mutunga, limit your phone contact in the chamber. Expand your fertilizer check to Muhoroni as well. It's called Nyando Rice Scheme.
And on the
Next, responses to statements. Administration and Internal Security. Tongoyo, is he here? Yes, respond to a request by Beatrice Kemei. Before you do, let me acknowledge additional schools in the public gallery. Boretti Junior School from Belgut Kericho. Ndonyo Kiasin School from Samburu, East Samburu. Kadandatu School from Imendi, South Meru. Sirwa Comprehensive School from Mogotio, Baringo. Mumiasi Central Primary School from Mumiasi West, Kakamega. and Uslisima Primary School from South Imenti, Meru. Next, Honorable Member for Mumias East, West, I know you asked me to give you an opportunity to welcome your school. It probably has already left. So on my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the schools, the students, the teachers, and those accompanying them to Parliament. Tongoyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And
You have 3 responses. Are you ready with all of them?
Yes, I am.
Start
But
with the
I need
one.
your indulgence, Honorable Speaker. As much as I'm ready with the response from the Honorable Beatrice Kemei, I doubt whether she's in the House.
If she's not in the House, put it aside.
So maybe table it or...
Table it, she will read it.
yeah. Yeah, but I think she had left. So maybe you'll allow me to table it.
To be fair to her, in case she has supplementaries,
Okay.
we stay to next Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Chiforomondo Mangale, a response to your request.
Yeah, so Honorable Speaker, also with me have a response on a statement being sought by the Member of Parliament for Lunga Lunga constituency, Honorable Chefuromondo Mangale. Okay, and the member sought to the Member of Parliament as requested to be informed the current progress of construction of the Lunga Lunga sub-county headquarter and the measures, if any, being implemented to expedite its completion in order to provide proper office space for the Deputy County Commissioner and other heads of departments. And I respond as follows, Honorable Speaker. The process of construction of the Lunga Lunga sub-county headquarter commenced on the 2019 in the drawings and the bill of quantities. However, the construction has not commenced due to limitation of funds. The land for construction of the headquarters is available with a parcel number Kwale Mahuruni 1856, measuring approximately 2.80 hectares. And Honorable Speaker, in regard to the second question on the issue of measures being put in place to expedite the process, the ministry is in process of engaging the National Treasury for the funding of the project, which is estimated to cost about 53,497,506,000. I submit, Honorable Speaker, signed by Honorable C.S. Kipchumba Murkomen. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Foromondo, are you satisfied? We go to the next.
Mr. Speaker, the response is not satisfactory. Because then, Mr. Speaker, 13 years is such a long time to be told that the ministry is trying to get some funds so that they can actualize the project. Mr. Speaker, I wish the chair would liaise with the Honorable Minister so that at least this is a beginning of the financial year. We get some funds to realize or to actualize the project, because then the DCC has no place to work on. They operate on a makeshift office which has been abandoned by the KRA. And again, this has been the trend. When you look at the Mwachanda Bridge, it has stayed since the time when we had rain seasons of El Nino and many other projects in Lunga Lunga sub-county. So please, sir, Mr. Speaker, I would request that Mr. Chairman liaise with the Honorable Minister so that we get some funds. 53 million is very little money for that matter. This is a big government with 4-point-something trillion budget. Please, sir, I'm requesting that something be done so that this thing is addressed. 13 years is such a long time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Tongoyo, can you first track for him?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As much as I really understand the frustration of the Member of Parliament, Honorable Speaker, we all know the problem. I've been lamenting in this House on the issue of funding the project within the ministry. In this financial year, Honorable Speaker, we have got hardly 500 million. And of course, we know the majority of the gazetted units in this country. But having said this, Honorable Speaker, I'm going also to take up to see whether we can get something. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, I want to challenge the Member of Parliament. We have also our NGCDF, which in a bigger extent can also help even the ministry in doing something in the said sub-county. Majority of members of parliament in this house have really contributed immensely in the issue of NGCDF, in the issue to support sub-counties, including the member of parliament, Bowen. He has done a very good job, and majority of members of parliament here. So I call upon now my colleague here, maybe as we wait the ministry to probably get some fund, you can also do something in your own kitty of NGCDF.
Thank you. Respond now to a request by Yakub Ado. Hold there. Yes, Rachel Nyamai. There's another joyrider here.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to also joyride on this. I would like to inform the Chair, Honorable Speaker, that we have assistant chiefs who were hired 1 year ago, specifically April 2024. And you know, now we are past April 2025. Initially, I had informed them that I do not want to raise the matter because I thought it can be handled administratively. But I would like to request the Chair that this is a matter that needs his consideration. As we await for implementation of the ones that have already been gazetted, but now those who are already hired and they have not been paid. It's a big concern, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Thank you, Tongo. You take care of that. And yes, Owen, you want to joyride on that as well?
Yes. Honorable Speaker, I think this is a problem that needs to be looked at because I have chiefs in Kilifi County, that assistant chiefs and chiefs that were hired a year ago, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Tongo, they have not been paid. And you can imagine a chief waking up every day serving the people and there has not been payment. When I asked, I was told there's a problem with the Public Service Commission who say that they should be hiring chiefs and not the local administration hiring chiefs. And because of that problem, Honorable Speaker, the chiefs are suffering. And this is something that can be resolved within the shortest period. But I think there is a problem within the Interior Ministry. Honorable Speaker, this is a matter that must be sorted out. Otherwise, they keep on piling it, and it will become another huge pending bill going forward. But it's something that can be sorted.
Tongo, you note that and address it. Those are comments. They don't require a response.
But Honorable Speaker, maybe just to put a word across, because it's not the first time that it's coming up, and the problem actually lies with the Public Service Commission, and they've got this issue of generating the service numbers. So at times it takes quite unnecessarily long, but as you guided, it's an issue that we are going to follow up and have it addressed.
Can you now respond to a request by Yakub Ado? Is Yakub here?
Yes, Speaker.
Yes. Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Once again, response on the statement being sought by Honorable Yakub Ador, the Member of Parliament for Bura constituency, in regards to the disappearance of Aden Nur Hassan. And I want to respond as follows. On the 14th May 2025, at about 10:20 hours, Mr. Maudili Lead Aden Hassan reported at Bangale Police Station, VIDE OB number 8/14/5/2025, that his cousin Aden Nur Hassan, a resident of Bulta Banda village, had been abducted within Badangale Township. Such efforts commenced immediately, and the vehicle number plate circulated at all roadblocks. Preliminarily, finding revealed that the victim was abducted on the 13th May at about 13 hours by two men using a black BMW vehicle with a registration number KCS 147Z. It was further established that the victim's mobile phone was switched off immediately after his abduction in Bangale town. Prior to the incident, the victim had been in communication with the individual whose phone number was traced to Mbalambale and has since been switched off. The DCI Crime Site and Intelligence Bureau is currently reviewing the call records of the victim with a view of identifying any suspicious phone number that the victim may have been in contact with. Additionally, a formal request was sent to the National Transport and Safety Authority to obtain the ownership detail of the suspected vehicle. A response was received providing a duplicate logbook of the vehicle with confirm that the vehicle, a black BMW registration number KCS 147Z, is registered under Mr. Mustafa Adan Ibrahim. The investigation team is therefore tracking Mustafa, who was considered a key suspect in the matter and was later located between Mandera and Wajir County. Investigations are still ongoing with effort intensified to apprehend the suspects and arraign them in court of law for the appropriation charges. And on the second question, Speaker, the police have intensified the investigation to ensure that the said person is expeditiously traced and reunited with the family, and to apprehend and arraign in court those who will be found responsible for the disappearance of the said person. Submit, Honorable Speaker. I think the rest are just standard response.
Jacob?
Thank you, Speaker. This response is not satisfactory for the following reasons. I am in contact with the family, and specifically the person who has reported the matter, without cutting or casting aspersions on the investigation process. The family has not reported that specific registration number, and the source of that information is not known to us. And the second issue is about the named individual called Faisal. I think with a little more seriousness on the issue, the details of that individual will have been traced, and that matter was close to 4 or 5 months ago. The family, and as their representative, I believe that that information has not or is not satisfactory. Secondly, Speaker, is about that Bengal station. My constituency is about 13,000 square kilometers, and specifically, I have raised an issue about lack of patrols by police in the same area, because that was not an isolated matter. It is a case that has repeatedly been reported. And up to today, part of the response from the chair is that Bengal police station still has not been allocated any police vehicle, and the closest police vehicle is about 180 kilometers away for any response. God forbid, if anything happens today, there is no response that could be expected from the police around there. So my request to the chair is that, through the speaker, is that next time when that leasing process of the vehicles for security purposes is availed, stations such as Bengal and far-flung areas where the constituency is very vast should be considered and given a priority going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Tongo,
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
you've heard the concerns
Yeah,
of
I
them.
did.
So look at them and appraise him on what else you are doing.
Well guided.
Beatrice Kemei has come here. She says she had stepped out to respond to a biological emergency. And she's requested that we reinstate her statement. So go ahead and respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Kamket, what is it?
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to joyride on that statement. Before the chairman responds, I wanted to add something little. Mr. Speaker, one of the most shameful...
On which statement?
On the statement by the member for Bora.
We have already gone past that.
No,
We
no,
are
not
now
yet.
with
He has
Beatrice
not
Kemei.
responded. He hasn't responded. I wanted to just add something.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was saying, Mr. Speaker, that one of the most shameful acts for a member of parliament is to come and to pretend to give a response on behalf of the police to this house. Mr. Speaker, I think we have to find a way to avoid a member of parliament, whether he's chairman for security or whatever committee, to give a response on behalf of the police. Because we know, Mr. Speaker, there is so much that this member does not know. And when we are talking about security matters, we are talking about, most of the time, we are talking about loss of life. I have a case in mind, Mr. Speaker, of my constituency, where somebody was picked from Ginyang Market by police and has never been seen up to date. We've chosen not to ask because there is little you can get from the police. So when I hear the chairman here trying to give a response on behalf of the police, I feel for him. Because I believe that even what he's reading, he does not believe in it. He doesn't even have the facts.
You are not a spokesman, are you?
No, but Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that he doesn't even know what he's talking about. It is obvious, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker...
Be fair to your colleague. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't want to be unfair to him, but I'm trying to paint a problem, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable...
that is very real in the country.
Member for Tiati.
Yes, sir.
We have given you an opportunity as member. Take your seat. You elect to file a question to the committee. The chairman of the committee or the chairperson of the committee will bring you an answer, however competent or incompetent. We have also given you an election to file questions for ministers to come and answer here, for you to grill them. The Minister for Security will be here next Wednesday. So it's entirely up to you and those who think like you to choose where to file your questions. Yes, Kamket.
Mr. Speaker, I want to add that even the Minister for Security is a civilian. Sometimes the statements he brings to this house, he is given stories that stories are jabba.
Order, Honorable Kamket.
I'm telling you, Mr. Speaker, this is the reality.
Are you telling the House that you want the IG and other policemen to come here and answer questions? Under what standing order?
Mr. Speaker, we have other agencies who come to this house, even in committee. We have to find a way of having those officers directly to respond to issues, either in plenary or in committee. Mr. Speaker, because the stories we are told, the security stories we are told, a member of parliament is given stories that he is not able to substantiate. We are not able to ask him subsequent questions. And these are questions that concern the lives of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, Kainan.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Kamket, having worked in Parliament under the old Constitution, remembers when we used to have the government question time and answer time, when questions would be filed on the floor of the House, and you deal with substantive office holders. I think what right now is trying to imagine is how do we get out this conflicted system? And I think that's what BBI wanted to do. That is what NATCO report attempts to do. It's the high time that we think out of the box and face this challenge, because it's a constitutional problem. It's not the Speaker's problem. It's not your problem. It's not the problem of the chair of the committee. It's because of the system that we have. So it is the high time that we as members of this House think out of the box and bring back the glory of this House, so that the real business of running government is transacted in this House by the elected representative of the people of Kenya. And that is parliamentary system, and that's what everybody is yearning for. So let's support that initiative to bring back power to this House through a parliamentary system.
Thank you. Before you respond to Kemei's request, Chairman, allow me to acknowledge in the Speaker's Gallery, Mumias Central Primary School from Mumias West, Kakamega. In the public gallery, we have Glorious Academy from Thika Town, Kiambu, Kapkwang School from Baringo, North Baringo, Kilel Stars Academy from Konoin, Bomet, Hoflo Junior Academy from Ainabkoi, Wasingishu, and Chepseon Complex from Kipkelion East, Kericho. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to the House of Parliament. Thank you. Tongoyo, go ahead and respond to Beatrice Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, I don't want to belabor on what you have already ruled on. But Honorable Speaker, just allow me to respectfully also weigh on what my brother had said. Our current standing orders are very clear on who responds to statement, to questions on behalf of members. But again, it's not limited to even the IG and the police officers appearing before the committees. And by then, we can have a session of interrogating issues that we need more deeper interrogation. So maybe, Honorable Speaker, the member may still have an opportunity, maybe through committee sessions. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of Honorable Kemei regarding the issue of GBV, the issue of gender-based violence, but maybe before, Honorable Speaker, just allow me, the Member of Parliament for Bura, you see, have just come to sit next to me. He's still having some issue on the response. And you remember we still have unfinished business with the CS on appearance before the committee on several unresponded statements. And we'll probably consider having him appear if we get that opportunity.
Kemei,
yes.
Then continue whispering to each other.
Yeah. So when he appears, you can still come before the committee. So on Kemei, she wanted to know regarding investigation into the escalating cases of gender-based violence in Kericho County. And I want to respond as follows, Honorable Speaker, because I think she wanted the status of investigation into the reported femicide and GBV case in Kericho County, particularly the attack on Miss Mercy Chelagat and Miss Miriam Chelimo. And the report on the number of reported femicide cases between July, August, and April 2025. Honorable Speaker, Nicholas Koech reported at Jirimoni Police Station, VIDOB number 0621 of 2025 on the 20th April at around 9 hours. A reconciliation team arrived at his home from Lesirwa, Kipkelion village with intention to reconcile his daughter, Damaris, and her husband, Mr. David Kimtai. The two had a domestic dispute which had prompted Damaris to flee from her matrimonial home to her parents' home, David, who is the accused, and was accompanied by his kinsmen, Mr. Wilson Cheblagat and Pastor Samuel Mutai, while Nicholas was accompanied by his brother, Thomas Kibet Koech, and his son, Gilbert Cheboy. After the deliberation at around 15 hours, Damaris was invited to give her submission, and she declined to accompany her husband back to their matrimonial home. Enraged, David pulled out a knife from his jacket and stabbed her severally on the stomach. The accused also stabbed Gilbert on his abdomen after he attempted to restrain him. Their father, Nicholas, also sustained minor injuries, and neighbors who responded to the distress call subjected David to a mob injustice. All the injured persons, including the accused, were rushed to Kericho Referral Hospital. The accused was treated and discharged, while Damaris and her brother Gilbert were admitted and were later discharged. The investigating officers visited there and processed the scene, recovered a knife which was kept as an exhibit, and further recorded statement, while P3 forms were duly completed. And the accused was arrested on the 26th April and arraigned before Tamu Law Courts on grievous harm contrary to Section 234 of the Penal Code. He pleaded not guilty on both counts. The court released him on a bond of Kenya shilling 200,000 or a cash bail of 50,000. The case was fixed for routine mention and hearing on the 26th May this year and June 23rd, this year. The accused appeared before Tamu Law Court for a routine mention on the 26th of May. However, both complainant requested the presiding magistrate for the withdrawal of the case, having reconciled with the accused. The accused was subsequently acquitted and the case withdrawn under Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Code on both accounts. Honorable Speaker, Bavin Serem, a nominated MCA, reported at the Grimoni police station via a mobile phone that Mr. Meshak Odida Juma assaulted his wife, Ms. Miriam Chelimo, on the night of the 2nd April this year at a Gate Point bar within Jirimo Trading Center following a domestic dispute on the 3rd April. The suspect took the victim to Jaramogi Oginga Referral Hospital for treatment. Unfortunately, she succumbed to the injuries on the following day. Subsequently, police officers from the Kipkelion police station arrested Shimesha Godida and booked him via OB Tiolo 140425. Upon interrogation, he admitted that he had not reported the incident to the police, stating the funeral arrangements were already underway for a burial schedule on the 16th April, and our parents' home in Chesgot, Kunyak, within the Kipkelion sub-county. The suspect was presented before Kericho Law Court on the 15th April for custodial orders and was later arraigned for plea taking on the 23rd. Honorable Speaker, on the report of the number of reported femicide and GBV cases between the month of July and April this year, are stated as follows. On the number of the femicide, there were 2 cases reported, all pending before court. The rape cases were 9, 7 cases pending before the court. Gang rape cases were 3, all pending before the court. Sexual assaults are 2, all pending before the court. Defilement were 77. All cases, this is very alarming, cases are pending before the court. Attempted defilement are 2, accused convicted. Grievous harm are 3, all pending before the court. Honorable Speaker, all reported cases of femicide and gender-based violence in Kericho County has been thoroughly investigated, with several cases currently pending before the competent court of law, while others have already been concluded. The government remains fully committed to upholding the rule of law and ensuring the timely, impartial prosecution of all reported cases. Effort continues to be directed toward eliminating procedural delays, protecting the right of survivors, and holding perpetrators accountable through a victim-centered, right-based approach. And limited arrest, Honorable Speaker, prosecution in Kericho cases is substituted to the low level of community sensitization, which has resulted in the victim being prosecuted by members, pressurized by the members of the public to resolve cases privately with their perpetrators. The limited cooperation from the members of the public in assisting the police to trace, apprehend the suspect, many of whom go into hiding after committing the crime. Survivors of the GBV often face societal stigma and are blamed for their victimization, which deter the victims and the families from reporting the victims. I submit, Honorable Speaker, signed by the CS Interior, Honorable Kipchumar Murkomen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Beatrice Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and especially the fact that you considered my request, having stepped out to make sure that I'm comfortable to listen to the chairman. Yes. And Honorable Speaker, he has actually brought this and result or from the CS. But Honorable Speaker, it is actually unfortunate that cases are alarming and rising.
They are definitely alarming for a small county like Kericho.
Yes. Now, Honorable Speaker, I expected, even having come up with reasons why there's slow rate of prosecution and arrest, I expected to get the possible solutions from the CS. Having said this, I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, that this campaign by the women leaders against SGPV has actually yielded some small result. But I want to plead with our male counterparts to support us. If we don't get support from our male counterparts, we will not go far. So, Honorable Speaker, I wish you can say something out of that whenever we are in any function, because SGPV is not for women only. It affects everybody else, but the most affected are women, Honorable Speaker. So for these cases of Kericho, they are alarming and rising every day. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to add that court cases take very long, and that is why, and some of them decide to withdraw and even to reconcile, and some are forced for reconciliation. So, Honorable Speaker, I ask that all the stakeholders come together to make sure that these cases go down. And it is not only in Kericho, across the country. And you'll realize that social and economic factors are affected, or economic factors and political are affected by these social cases. So, Honorable Speaker, I ask that we go further than that. So for Chair, please get more results. How can we get possible solutions for this? It is not satisfactory, Honorable Speaker, and especially this lady who died, and then the husband did not even report, saying that I'm only planning for the funeral. So I am not happy, and every day they are asking, what do legislators say about these cases? So it is from here that we can speak for our people, and especially the poor. They have nothing to do. And Honorable Speaker, yesterday, while and Madam Speaker was holding brief for you, the case of the village elder was actually, the statement was answered. But Honorable Speaker, the issue that we have is that even families are not informed of where the case has reached. So I believe that the chair should go more further for that case. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mshomba, you want to joyride on that? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take the cue from my sister, the Honorable Countywoman MP for Kericho County. Honorable Speaker, this morning I attended a conference for all the CSOs and human rights organizations that are based in Nairobi, a network for human rights organization. And Kericho County was actually flagged in the report that was exposed in that forum. There was a baseline research that was done, and Kericho County is alarmingly showing us very negative numbers. So even as the Honorable member says that she's not satisfied with the response, I support her. Honorable Speaker, it's barely 2 years since we saw bodies of women mutilated being retrieved from a quarry in Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, you bear me witness, and the members in this house can bear me witness, that that case has never been resolved. The suspect suddenly escaped from a police cell, and nobody has ever come out to tell us what happened. How many bodies were left in there? How many bodies were retrieved? Who are they? Whose daughters? Whose sisters? Whose wives were they? So, Mr. Speaker, this issue of gender-based violence, femicide, and sexual assault is becoming very serious. Where I come from in Githunguri, Mr. Speaker, we have a new phenomenon of people who are coming in employed as workers, gardeners, shabba boys, and they are accosting elderly women, raping them, killing them, their own employers. And these are people, when you go to the police to follow the case, some of them have not even IDs. We don't know where they are coming from. Which country are they from? Mr. Speaker, I rise up as a woman supporting my sister from Kericho, asking you, Honorable Speaker, even as Mr. President support women of this house through the GBV budget that he gave us, it is not enough. We request you, Mr. Speaker, to lobby the men in this house, you as a father, you as a husband, Mr. Speaker, I beseech you. We need to see more than what we are seeing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kasheri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. While we appreciate the gains that we have made in regards to women participation in society and their safety, we still have so much to be done, because we must approach these with a multi-agency approach. Honorable Speaker, the judiciary has launched an initiative to decentralize SGBV courts, but they require funding from this House to ensure that in every magistrate's court station, there is an SGBV court that specifically deals with those matters so that we can expedite such matters. When it comes to the DPP, Honorable Speaker, the investigative agency, the delays in court, and I speak these as an advocate of the High Court who has practiced and handled these matters continually, are mostly from a lack of supply of evidence that the prosecution intends to rely upon. So every court mention, there is a further adjournment because the DPP's office is unable to supply the evidence as per the requirements of the law. Honorable Speaker, the arresting agency, the NPS, the National Police Service, is also culpable of laxity. Sometimes women have complained to us as leaders that they have reported a matter, but police officers have dismissed those claims or claim that, your dress was too short, you must have insulted, you must have said something that was demeaning to the man or to the offending person. And these are things that we cannot, as a society, keep quiet about any longer. If we have only one single approach, Honorable Speaker, we will keep having these conversations, we will keep having delayed case matters, but if we have a multi-agency approach, involve the gender ministry, involve NGOs, involve the religious communities in Kenya, I am certain that we will mitigate such occurrences. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Naisula.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I just rise to support the woman rep of Kericho. And thank you for bringing this statement. The issues are not specific to Kericho County. They cut across the 47 counties in our country. And Mr. Speaker, just as my colleague has said, we cannot fight the issues of GBV, defilement, rape, using one approach. We all have to come together. Recently, His Excellency, the President, supported all the women through KEWOPA to go and do sensitization in our counties, in our constituencies, so that this is a conversation that is happening down at the grassroots levels, Mr. Speaker, and we're grateful about that. But then, as the conversations go on, there has to be tangible results as a country. And I've always said this, one life has to matter. We don't have to wait until 10, 20 bodies are found in a quarry. When one woman, when one man, when one person, when one child, and it doesn't matter from what part of this country, Mr. Speaker, is defiled, is killed. And you can imagine, these are people who have died not because they are sick, not because of any other natural calamity, but it is another individual who has taken the life of another person, Mr. Speaker. This is something that as a country we must take very seriously. And it starts even from the family level, Mr. Speaker. And I'm very happy with some, because in social issues, people don't like also talking or speaking out. What we have realized is that the people who defile, the people who rape, the people who kill are people well known to the victims, Mr. Speaker. It is their uncles, it is their brothers, it is the partners of their mothers. And there's this thing in the society where a partner, I have a case in Samburu right now, where we have a person who was a partner to the mother of the child, now raped the child. And we have Kenyans now, some people saying, what was that partner doing with that? It doesn't matter what relationship that man had with the mother.
Children are not raped, they are defiled.
Defiled, sorry. Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So it doesn't matter the relationship that guy had with the mother. He had no business defiling that child, Mr. Speaker. And when the child went to the police station, one of the police officers said, but you look like you're a grown-up. Just because the girl is built, is big in body. So, Mr. Speaker, it starts from there. The DPP actually closed the file. In my constituency, closed the file before the case continued. So it is a collective responsibility. Until we jail, until we make sure that people are accountable, Mr. Speaker, this issue will not end. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. It is degenerating into a debate. Haika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Briefly, I want to mention and begin by supporting my sister from Kericho, Women Rep, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this issue needs to be supported entirely. We need to have a support system to support the whole process dealing with matters GBV. Because as most of our women leaders and women reps, we are trying to put up some rescue centers, some safe spaces, houses, for such kind of cases, Mr. Speaker, because some of these cases, we lose them in these courts because of lack of evidence, or sometimes, the people who are defiled or any other type of GBV, there are times they are threatened, and because they don't have a safe space where they can be kept or the evidence can be hidden for them to go and approve at the courts. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to take this matter very seriously, and maybe when it comes to funding, we need to secure some funds, especially when it comes to building the safe spaces or the rescue centers to be able to support such kind of cases. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Owen.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support my sister Beatrice Kimei and the other honorable members, the women that have spoken about this matter. Honorable Speaker, when a society, the big issue that society wants to deal with is rape, defilement, and all that, Honorable Speaker, the society is degenerating and not moving forward. As a civilized society, Honorable Speaker, and I want to speak to men in this country, we need to dignify ourselves and take a position that we must protect the ladies and the women and the children in this country, other than going out there to do the things that are unprintable that are done to young women, to small children, and to women. Honorable Speaker, as a country, I think Kenya has moved very fast in terms of industrialization, in terms of development. We have made a big step, but one step we must make is to walk away from issues of rape and issues of defilement as a nation. And that's where we can stand among the League of Nations and say, yes, we are a country that can be respected. Honorable Speaker, and I want to ask the police and the prosecutors and the courts to take these matters serious and punish offenders severely to make sure that we do not only deter, but we say goodbye to these issues of rape and all that, so that we can put our resources in other things other than these rudimentary things of rape, defilement, and sex that is not permitted. Honorable Speaker, I support the statement. Thank you.
Yes, Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuweza kutilia pono dadangu alivyozungumza wa Kericho. Mheshimiwa Spika, hizi cases za defilement, za ulawiti wa watoto, wa mama kupigwa zimekuwa nyingi sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Juzi na jana Mombasa County tumeuliwa msichana mdogo anaitwa Mebakari, alifanywa vibaya akaja akabebwa maiti yake akatupwa kando hospitali. Mpaka wa leo hatujapata uhakika wa jambo hili, na yule mwanamke tayari mtoto wa kike ashazikwa Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi ningependa kusema hivi, koti zetu zinatuangusha. Hasa hawa maprosecutor wanatuangusha sana, na lazima waweze kutilia maanani kuwa hizi cases za wanyonge wao zitakuja kuwalemea hata mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Mheshimiwa Spika, unapata mtoto mdogo amefanywa vibaya, mama akienda naye pale anaanza kuulizwa maswali ya kijinga. Mheshimiwa Spika, anaweza kumdharaulisha mbele ya watu Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi nataka nimwambie Chief Justice, kule mashinani cases ni nyingi, watu wanatoka mbali, anaambiwa nenda ukirudi kama kilomita 3 kutoka Mwakirunge kuja kotini, mpaka sasa ule ushahidi Mheshimiwa Spika unakuja unapotezwa. Mimi naomba tu atuongezee hawa magistrate wa kufanya hizi cases, aongeze katika haya makoti yetu, na tuwe na safe space kama Mombasa. Mimi niko najenga ile GBV center ambayo nitaweka pale ndani, lakini naomba pia na judge naye atupe wale magistrates ambao watatusaidia hizi cases ziweze kwenda kwa haraka. Mheshimiwa Spika, hawa utapata tu kule kotini wao wanaangalia mambo ya hongo. Mtu ambaye yuko innocent utapata anasumbuliwa pale kotini, anazungushwa, lakini kesi kama hii unakuja unaambiwa walikuja wakaelewana. Kama juzi nimeona kwa mtandao, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna mwanamke ameweka obi 5, ameziweka kwenye mtandao. Kila siku ana report, akipigwa na report 5, lakini polisi hawajachukua hatua yoyote. Wanangoja yule mwanamke afe, alafu sasa ndio sisi tuanze kutoka. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naomba polisi wetu wakiletewa hizi cases wazichukulie na uzito, kwa sababu maisha ya mtu yuko hatarini. Na wanaume katika nchi hii, wanawake wako wengi sana. Acheni kudefile watoto wadogo. Hakuna kitu kizuri kwa mtoto mdogo, miaka 2, miezi 8 unapata mwanaume ameenda kufanyia mtoto mambo mabaya. Jamani, wanawake wako wengi, ongea nao vizuri, ukae naye kule kando, fanya mambo yake. Lakini kwa mtoto mdogo unaenda kutafuta kitu gani, Mheshimiwa Spika? Hii ni aibu. Na mimi nilisema, Mheshimiwa Spika, afadhali sasa tupitishe katika bunge hili, mwanaume yeyote ambaye atapatikana na lawiti mtoto akatwe mkongojo wake. Hivyo tu, Mheshimiwa Spika. Asante sana.
I am very sympathetic to that, what you have suggested. Those are not men, they are beasts. Yes, Kisairo.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to support our colleague member on the issue she has raised. Honorable Speaker, as I was driving here, actually that was the discussion going on in our vernacular radio station, Egesa, on the increased cases of child defilement. I think the Gusii region is also becoming quite rampant in this topic, and would like to talk to the men out there. Actually, I don't think anyone defiling a child should be considered to be a man.
He's a beast.
Because a man knows how to look for a woman. Anything short of that, you are a beast. Honorable Speaker, before I became a member of parliament in 2020, in the month of May, I decided for 1 month, month of May 2020, to visit any child who was being born in my constituency. And in the process, I was actually taking statistics. I visited 565 newborns in that month. Sadly, Honorable Speaker, 175 of those children were born by children. To make it the matter worse, Honorable Speaker, none of those 175 were fathered by another child. They were fathered by adults. To make the situation worse, the protection level by our own families is what makes the situation more dire. That once the case is caught, people run to the parents of the child with little coins and shut up the family. Hence, you find some of these cases, the statistics you've had there on the cases in court, how many are not in court? Because they've been silenced and families have been compromised. We need to urge that parents, when your child has been defiled, there should be no sympathy. There should be no discussions that this is a family member. Let us keep it under wraps. Let us not embarrass the family. Let the person be prosecuted. Let them be jailed. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You are very right, Gisairo. Members, I once, a few years ago, visited a postnatal clinic in my county. On the queue were about 24 mothers with children. Out of the 24, only one was above 18, and the youngest was 12. A child with a child. I think I agree that this matter must be taken very seriously, and lawyers like Kaluma will tell you, when a person has committed a felony like defilement, there is nothing like a complainant withdrawing the complaint. Carolo Mondi, you know that. Where there's a felony, the complainant is the state, and nobody can withdraw a complaint. And I agree that as a house, you should tighten the punishment to these beasts, including but not limited to what one member, Mama Zamzam, suggested. I think, Tongo, you've heard this. You should probably, the leader of majority, inform the various agencies, the DPP, the DCI, Interior, the judiciary. You know, it's a tap on the wrist. A person has defiled a child, goes to court and is given a free bond or a cash bail of 500 shillings. It is not on. I think as a house you should speak in unison and protect families. Yes, Caroli?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. There's just a little element that is bothering me that maybe if I raised, I could get some contributions from the members. When underage children have relationships and the girl gets pregnant and both are underage, it is normally the boy who then gets charged. And the boy is also underage, because that is what the law provides. They are all minors. There's quite a challenge here, I think. Yes, I don't know how we should deal with it, because we are dealing with people who are not adults, but where one bears the brunt of a relationship when a pregnancy arises.
But Caroli, statistics show that those are very nominal cases. Most of these girls are impregnated by very senior, mature people. We have had a school in Bungoma, in Mount Elgon, where out of 47 children in one class, standard 8, more than 40 were impregnated. That is not with the fellow students. It is many, I have said it before. If you as a man has a liking for girls in uniform, buy uniform to your wife and admire her every time she wears uniform and leave our children alone. Yes, Mbeyu.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, nasimama kuunga mkono hoja iliyoletwa na dadangu Beatrice Kemei, akiwa ndiye women rep wa pekee ndani ya Kenya aliyechaguliwa bila kupingwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, hoja hii imenigusa Mheshimiwa Spika. Nikiwa pale Kilifi, hii shida ni kubwa zaidi, nafikiri kushinda kote. Kuna visa pale Mheshimiwa Spika, nilipoweka mkutano kuhamasisha dhulma za kijinsia, kuna visa tofauti pale vitokelezea, wa baba wanapigwa, na kwa ule mkutano wangu walijitokelezea wakasema, lakini haya ya mauaji, the femicide part, iko sana pale kwetu na ni visa vya kusikitisha. Tukueleza kisa kimoja cha msichana aliyeitwa Kabeyu, jina karibu na yangu. Alitoka kazi, akanunua mboga, akatekwa nyara na tuk-tuk tu. Wakaenda wakafanya walivyofanya, wakamuua, wakaenda kumtupa karibu na kwao. Visa vya kusikitisha, Mheshimiwa Spika. Wababa, watu wazima, wanaitwa mababa sukari hawa. Mheshimiwa Spika, imefika wakati saizi watoto wadogo wanadhulumika. Watoto miaka
hao si baba sukari, hao ni baba sumu.
Zamani walikuwa wanaitwa baba sukari, sasa ni baba sumu. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, watoto wadogo, kuna itikadi nyingine kutoka kwa jamii fulani ati wakitumia hawa watoto wadogo, wakidhulumu watoto wadogo, wanatoa virusi vya ukimwi, ambao ni uongo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna hiyo itikadi, wanatumia vitu ambavyo havistahili. Wamama wengi wanadhulumika, watoto wengi, na la kusikitisha Mheshimiwa Spika, kesi hizi hata zikifika kwa police desk zinakuwa compromised. Visa ambavyo vimetoka kwa watu wa jamii, baba, mjomba, kaka mkubwa, wanaona aibu. Familia wanaambiwa waende wazungumze hizo vitu nyumbani, ni watoto wamedhulumika. Imefikia wakati Mheshimiwa Spika, tuweze kufanya maamuzi ndani ya nyumba hii. Nikikueleza zile visa ambazo zimetokea pale Kilifi North, pale kunaitwa Kiwandani. Mheshimiwa Owen yuko hapa. Ni visa vingi, tunaweza kuhesabu moja baada ya nyingine. Ni masikitiko makubwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, imefika kama kuna adhabu ya kotini. Hatutaki hizi kesi zizungumzwe nyumbani, zifike kotini na hukumu itolewe. Na hatutaki hukumu mtu atoe 500 atolewe beli sijui bond. Vile kuna kifungo cha maisha.
Vile vile kuna kifungo cha kuteswa, kuwa hanged. Tunataka hawa wanaohusika, vijana, visa hivi viko mpaka makanisani, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sina aibu, mimi ni Mkatoliki. Lakini visa hivi viko katika makanisa yetu. Mafadha wanarepu watoto, viko mpaka msikitini. Visa hivi viko katika taarifa zote. Sina aibu kusema hivyo. Tuwatetea hawa watoto wadogo, wa mama ambao wanapitia hizi dhulma. Mheshimiwa Spika, imefika bunge hili tuweze kutengeneza policy kwa kisa hichi kipata mtu apelekwe kotini, na hii aliyosema dadangu Zamzam iwekwe hadharani. Mtu afungwe kabisa juu ya mti pale, akatwa zile sehemu zake, watu wengine wafanye hivi, visa vitaacha. Iwe mfano tu, kila koti hukumu ikitolewa wakatiliwe mbali kabisa hivi vifaa wanazitumia ovyo kwa watoto wadogo, na vitaacha. Wengine wakiona, wababa washindwe katika jina la Yesu wanaotumia watoto wadogo. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Let's end there and go to something else. I think message is made. Yes, Tongoyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I know, Honorable Speaker, this has gone really into a big debate. And of course, as well understood. Honorable Speaker, I think that we should not end this one here. Because looking, Honorable Speaker, into these figures, it is really a cause of concern. In less than actually 10 months, put together all these numbers, there are more than 100. And maybe this is just Kericho, it could be replicated in the rest of the counties. Honorable Speaker, as much as I know there is other government intervention and to try to look into the curbing this menace, including the task force, I know there was a one-off, some money, almost 1 billion given to our colleagues to carry sensitization, which I know maybe we need to probably give more so that the sensitization goes on. Maybe, Honorable Speaker, I will suggest that so that we go beyond rhetoric and debates here, if we consider creating maybe a caucus in Parliament made up of women, I mean both our colleagues, members of Parliament from women and men, so that we see how we can ventilate and discuss this one more deeper ways and look whether we can look interventions. And of course, even now, I know even the training of Ngawa officers, to include even the village elders, now that we have a village elders policy, so that, Honorable Speaker, we see how we can really look intervention into this. It is really becoming so much alarming, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Who has a point of order? Kaluma. Yes, Peter.
Honorable Speaker, I tried to catch your attention while Honorable Bombay was speaking. Honorable Speaker, the matter we are discussing is a very serious matter. And we are talking of criminals defiling and engaging in gender-based violence. But Honorable Speaker, Honorable Bombay has made a statement which is taking this thing from criminals, whoever they are, to blaming Catholic priests without evidence. And Honorable Speaker, I wanted to request that be exited and expunged from the answer. Whether you are a priest or whoever, if you do this, you are not doing it because you are a priest, you are a criminal.
Yes.
It cannot be deflected to the religion in which we are. Yes. And fathers who commit and devote the whole of their lives in service of faith.
Thank you, Kaluma. I agree. Religion has nothing to do with it. We expunge all references to religion. Criminals are criminals regardless of their religion. Yes, Emas, I had crossed this river.
Honorable Speaker, I know this is a very serious issue. I just wanted to give some, to put an input to the chair that the support that we were given as women for advocacy against GBV is not sufficient. And furthermore, it's only given to women MPs and county women MPs. But what is happening in counties and constituencies where we do not have women as elected leaders? There is no advocacy. There is nobody talking about anti-GBV. So if we are to get more support, let's get enough support so that even our men counterparts, colleagues, get money and help us in advocacy in constituencies and counties where we do not have women MPs.
Thank you. Let's go to the response to Joseph Munyoro. Yes, Konzirai.
Seeking your guidance because yesterday the chairman Interior had promised to give me a preliminary statement
about the disappearance of somebody.
The abduction of Karisa Charo Mai.
Yes.
On 16th of July 2024.
Are you ready, Chairman?
Unfortunately, no, Honorable Speaker, I had promised so, but unfortunately the CS, he was out of town yesterday, and I reached out and he says that we give him again
Honorable Samuel Gonzirai.
Yes.
The CS will be answering questions here on Wednesday, so prepare your arsenal for Wednesday.
And again, Mr. Speaker, I think I came to your office because I was seeking also guidance. There was a distress call regarding one who is in Saudi Arabia, Riziki Luvuno, who was actually raised some concern on April 24th, and I raised the question in June. To date, the select committee on diaspora has not actually responded to this question.
Aika?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, but that question was not brought to the committee. I have not seen it yet.
You requested a statement?
Yes.
To the diaspora committee?
Yes.
Aika, you check with the table office and respond to that on Tuesday afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Joseph Munyoro, Blue Economy, Kangoko Bowen, are you ready?
Munyoro is in. I don't.
Yes, Bowen?
Oh, yes.
Munyoro is here.
Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on 11th of June 2025, the Honorable Joseph Munyoro requested for a statement about the exclusion of Muranga South Water and Sanitation Company, MUWASCO, from the recent downward tariff review by WASREP, despite having the highest rates in the region. And number two, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member is also seeking the immediate measures being taken by the WASREP to review the MUWASCO water tariffs to ensure fairness and queen in the service provision across the Muranga County. Honorable Speaker, the Water Services Regulatory Board is established under the Water Act 2016 with the principle of object to protect the interest and rights of consumers in the provision of water services. WASREP undertakes this through, among others, evaluating and recommending water and sewerage tariffs to all water service providers and providing the imposition of such tariffs in line with the consumer protection standards, and I therefore wish to respond as follows. Mr. Speaker, the WASREP decision to exclude MUWASCO from the May 2025 tariff review cycle stems from a regulatory and operational complexities in line with the legal provisions, which is number one, the jurisdictional dispute. Mr. Speaker, on 24th February 2025, the Muranga Water and Sanitation Company, that is MUWASCO, submitted a formal request to WASREP to expand its services areas to include the parts of MUWASCO's jurisdictions, which is Muranga Town, Nginda, and the Ichakaki wards. MUWASCO formally objected to this variation via letters on 28 February 2025, that is a reference number MUWASCO/the county .cav/2/47, and MUWASCO/WASREP/4/24, citing unresolved issues, including the human resource realignment, asset liability sharing, consumer connection transitions, and tariff harmonization implication. Section 98(1) of the Water Act 2016 mandates the service area variation require the explicit consent of all the affected licenses. In this regard, the WASREP has not received a MUWASCO consent and retains the formal memorandum of objection, thus preventing any unilateral alteration of service areas.
Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, Section 851 of the Water Act 2016 stipulates that water services must only be provided under the license issued by WASREP, emphasizing the importance of a clear jurisdiction boundaries for regulatory oversight. Honorable Speaker, MOWASCO's current tariff is at 107 per unit, approved by the WASREP in 2023, remains valid until June 30, 2026. This tariff was determined after a rigorous assessment, aligning with WASREP's tariff setting guidelines, which ensures affordability. That is, the tariff should not exceed 5% of household income, and sustainability, which is a full cost recovery to operations, maintenance, and necessary infrastructure investments. Regulatory procedures, as guided by the Water Regulations 2015 and WASREP Tariffs Guideline 2024, permits a comprehensive tariff review only upon a formal tariff review application submitted by the water service provider. 6 months before the expiry of the current tariff license, there being a deadline of 31st December 2025 for MOWASCO to submit a tariff application review. On question number 2, Honorable Speaker, which is the immediate measures being taken by the WASREP to review the MOWASCO water tariff to ensure fairness in service provision across Murang'a County. Honorable Speaker, the WASREP is actively facilitating the resolution of the jurisdiction impasse through the following multi-pronged approach measures anchored in law and sector-based practices. To begin with, the WASREP has acted the Murang'a County government to expedite the boundary demarcation process. The process is essential in resolving the jurisdiction overlap between the MOWASCO and MOWASCO, and must be undertaken with a full public participation as required by Article 10 of our Constitution and Section 139 of the Water Act 2016, which mandates the stakeholder consultation for significant service and tariff adjustment. Following the conclusion of this demarcation, a multi-sector consultative meeting will be convened to deliberate on the proposed service area variations and the association tariff applications. This forum will bring together the Ministry of Water and Sanitation and Irrigation, the WASREP, the ARTI and the Tana Water Works Development Agencies, the county government of Murang'a, both the water service providers, that is MOWASCO and MUSWASCO. Honorable Speaker, that those are the affected, and also the affected communities. Honorable Speaker, the WASREP also providing the technical assistance, both utilities to support the preparation of their tariff renewal application in full compliance with the WASREP Tariff Guidelines 2024. In interim, Honorable Speaker, the WASREP continues to monitor the MOWASCO's operations to ensure adherence to the affordability, sustainability principles that underpin the current approved tariff. And it is important to clarify, Honorable Speaker, that the MOWASCO's exclusion from the recent tariff review process is procedural necessity, not an act of regulatory biasness. The utility existing tariff is at Kenya shillings 107 per cubic meter remains valid and compliant with the Water Act of 2016 and prevailing tariff guidelines. This tariff will remain in force until the review is triggered by a joint application following a jurisdiction clarity. The WASREP commits prioritizing this review as soon as these conditions are met. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, for this context, the tariff structures across Kenya are designed to reflect the unique operational realities of each water service provider, including infrastructure investment requirements, service coverage, and the cost recovery needs. Currently, the highest approved tariff for the lifeline consumption, that is block 1 to 6 cubic meters, is Kenya shillings 300 per cubic meter, while the national coverage tariff for 2022-2025 regulatory period standard is at Kenya shillings 115 per cubic. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit, signed by Engineer Eric Mureithi Muka, the Cabinet Secretary for Water.
Yeah, let me interrupt the proceedings to welcome and visiting schools to the National Assembly. Honorable members, in the public gallery are pupils and students of SDA Cap Keringon Comprehensive School from Mosop constituency, Nandi County. They are welcome to the National Assembly to observe proceedings. Is Honorable Joseph Munyoro satisfied with the response?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm not satisfied. And Honorable Speaker, I'd like to know what happens when a question is not answered. Do I resubmit the statement, or do they invite the water service provider so that we can have a discussion? Because I think they completely misunderstood. One of the reasons I'm saying this is simple. I asked what the basis for Murang'a South Water and Sanitation Company, whose tariffs were not reviewed, as they reviewed all tariffs of all water providers in Murang'a County. The reason, one of the reasons, because I think it's not even a reason, it's an excuse, they are saying that Murang'a Water and Sanitation Company, that one provides water in Kiharu region, apparently submitted a formal request to expand their services to Muswasko's territory, whose request Muswasko refused. And based on that, they refused to review tariffs of Muswasko, who is not the offending party. So, Honorable Speaker, I was not asking the question after the dispute was resolved. I was asking the question with the current status quo, that already Muswasko have a jurisdiction. They provide services to residents of Kegumo constituency, Kadara constituency, and parts of Maragua. Why were their tariffs not reviewed without the issue of the dispute? And Honorable Speaker, if you were to wait for the tariff of the dispute to be refused, what happens if it's never sorted? Do they continue suffering? And why are we punishing innocent people? Because residents are not part of the dispute. The dispute is among companies, water service providers.
I've carried for very long.
Two,
I don't know when you are.
They claim that the tariff was determined after rigorous assessment. And I'm wondering whether other tariffs were not. Or if the fact that it was a rigorous assessment, then it's too much work to do the same so that they can review the tariff. And I really need your guidance here, because the issue of immediate measures being taken for them to review, again, they've just taken the dispute and started their explanation with, to begin with, WASREB has urged the Murang'a County government. I mean, Honorable Chair and Honorable Speaker, sorry, you need to let me have a session with this WASREB, because we just need to know, when you ask measures you are taking, you start with number one, I'm doing this. Number two, or it's not possible. So, Honorable Speaker, I take great exception to this answer that is half-baked. And I know it's not the chair's fault, but it's WASREB trying to take us for granted. They are discriminating against our people, and it's totally unfair. We are residents, and Kegumo constituency is in the middle of Murang'a County. So you have one neighbor paying 60 shillings for their water, and we are paying 107 shillings. And when you ask that question, we are being told of a dispute. I don't think my question has been handled, and I would like your guidance on whether I need to resubmit or whether they need to be called so that we have a session with them. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The departmental committee chair, are you able to seal those information gaps, or we direct a different approach to dealing with the issue?
The Honorable Speaker, I understand what the Honorable Member is saying, but given what the answers by the CS, you know, the CS is only giving that the reason why the tariffs were not reviewed is because of the jurisdiction dispute. Honorable Speaker, I want to assure the Honorable Member and also assure you, Honorable Speaker, that I can as well take up this matter, invite the Cabinet Secretary together with the WhatsApp, and to appear before us, and I can invite also the Honorable Member so that we can resolve this issue. Because it is not possible, Honorable Speaker, that, there are some people who are paying over 150 shillings, and others are paying 107. So, Honorable Speaker, I undertake to take it further to get proper answers.
Honorable Munyoro, that would be a good way to deal with it in better detail with the relevant officers present.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll be waiting to get that.
When do you want to get those members of the executive for a sitting with the committee members and the Honorable Munyoro?
Mr. Speaker, probably after this, we'll walk to clerk's office to write straight to the PS, and let me say in 2 weeks' time, probably, because I may not know the schedule of the PS, but within 2 weeks' time, Mr. Speaker, I should...
so schedule that meeting, invite the relevant members of the executive, and ensure the Honorable Joseph Munyoro is in attendance so that the matter can be addressed in a more conclusive way.
Thank you, Mr.
Honorable, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm well guided. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, yesterday, the Honorable Kainan, I think through the letter of majority, asked the Speaker that there is a question, and indeed, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Kainan asked a question, or I requested for a statement on 9th of April about water and sewerage in Wajir County.
Do I hear you to be saying
and
you have the response?
No, I tabled the response, Mr. Speaker, because following the guidance of the Speaker that when a member asks for a statement and it is listed in the order paper, and when the member is not in at that time, Honorable Speaker, we table the answers. And I tabled the answer or the response by the Honorable Kainan, Honorable Speaker, and it's on an answer on 29th of May 2025.
Good. Your responsibility is discharged. Honorable members, let me again recognize an institution sitting in the Speaker's Gallery on a visit to the National Assembly. This is Simat Comprehensive School from Kapseret constituency in the Great Uasin Gishu County. On my own behalf and on behalf of the Speaker of the National Assembly and the House, you are welcome to the National Assembly to observe the proceedings. This is where we make laws for the country. This is where we oversight the national government. And this is the house from which all Kenyans are represented. May you continue with your learning sessions. Welcome. I wanted us to go to the next issue. Yes, give Honorable Makali Mulu the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for indulging me. I just wanted to share experience on this matter which you have just directed. I was once in that situation where I was not happy with the response from the chair of our committee. And the way you have proposed, Honorable Kagogo, is the way to go.
That's why we are going for
where you summon the PS and the concerned parastatal or water body, and then you can invite the honorable member to be sorted out, I can assure you. Because I got a very good response after we started our team. So I support that approach.
No, they are both not there. Yeah, the advice is taken. Could you call what I'm seeing as the response to response number 5, the question by the Honorable Charles Onchoke, the Chair, Departmental Committee on Education? Do we have the response to the question which was asked by Honorable Charles Onchoke?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Charles Onchoke had written to our clerk that he was out of the country and he wished his response to be done when he's present. So he requested that we stand it down until when he's available.
Because I don't have information from the clerk, that question under the standing orders will stand dropped because Honorable Charles Onchoke is clearly not in the House. Could we
All right.
have the response in relation to the question by Joshua Kandie, MP? Is the Honorable Joshua Kandie in the House?
Honorable Speaker.
Also not there.
He's not there, but Honorable Speaker, I just would like to table it because Honorable Kandie was invited to the committee while the response was being given, and he did ask any follow-up questions he may have wanted. So I think it's only appropriate that I can just table it.
Yeah, then table
Thank
the
you,
document. The Honorable Kandia and any other member interested to see what the response is can pick it from the table and see what the response is. One of the question by Honorable Joshua Kandie, do we have the response? Who is representing the Departmental Committee on Education?
Is the one I've just...
That is the one you have tabled.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was, Joshua Kandie twice. Huh? Yeah, so the response can be picked from the table as directed by Honorable Joshua Kandie. The response number 5 to the question by the Honorable Irene Kasalu, MP. I can see Honorable Irene Kasalu somewhere in the House. Do you have the response by the Departmental Committee on Health?
Yes, we do.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In response to a request for a statement by Honorable Dr. Irene Kasalu, MP, regarding the unlawful detention of the body of the late Mrs. Priscilla Nyokabi Gaku by Kenyatta National Hospital. Mr. Speaker, this is a response from the Minister in reference to the letter by the Clerk of the National Assembly on dated 30th June 2025 addressed to the Cabinet Secretary, and the response as follows. 1. Reasons for the detention of the body of the late Ms. Priscilla Nyokabi Gaku by Kenyatta National Hospital from 30th May to date, the 2024 to date. Honorable Chairman and members, the late Ms. Priscilla Nyokabi Gaku was admitted to Kenyatta National Hospital private wing referred to here as KPCC on 2nd April 2024, where she subsequently underwent surgery. Upon admission, both the patient and the sister signed the admission questionnaire confirming their understanding of the hospital's credit limit policy, which caps allowable credit at Kenya shillings 200,000. In line with the established KPCC private wing credit policy, the hospital does not offer waivers or extend social work services for patients admitted under this category, that is in the private wing. Clients are informed of these financial obligations at the point of entry and are required to acknowledge by signing the admission documentation their commitment to fully settling the associated charge. During her stay at the private wing, it was observed that Ms. Priscilla Nyokabi Gaku exceeded the agreed limit outlined at the time of admission, despite effort by the hospital to engage the next of kin on settling the bills. The discussion was unsuccessful. As a result, the patient was transferred to the General Hospital for continued care. At the time of transfer, the outstanding bill stood at Kenya shillings 1,155,486, of which Kenya shillings 235,000 was paid, leaving a balance of 920,486. Ms. Gaku remained under medical care in General Hospital for a total of 43 days until her unfortunate passing on 30th May 2024. Following her demise, the next of kin and family did not present themselves to discuss the settlement of the pending bill or to initiate the formal process of release of the body for burial. In accordance with the hospital's policy on unclaimed bodies, the remains were subsequently marked for disposal at the farewell home. As of today, no formal arrangement or legal binding commitment has been made by the next of kin or representation of the deceased regarding settlement of the outstanding hospital charges. Mr. Speaker, in regard to steps being taken to ensure that the family of the deceased is able to collect and bury their loved one without further delay, the Minister answers, the hospital administration confirms that the body will be released to the family and is ready to engage with them on appropriate modalities for this process. In the spirit of compassion, the hospital is prepared to offer a flexible payment plan, allowing the family to settle the outstanding bill in agreed installments after the release. We remain committed to handling this matter with dignity and are available to support the family through the necessary arrangements. In regard to measures being taken to curb the failure to release patients and bodies by Kenyatta National Hospital, the ministry is committed to upholding the dignity, rights, and welfare of patients and bereaved families while balancing the need for sustainable operations. In pursuit of this, the hospital will continue to, 1, engage and assess patients at entry to determine their financial capacity and medical care requirements. This will strengthen financial assessment and early detection of needy cases. 2, establishment of payment plans and financial agreements that allow families to pay installments, reducing the risk of post-treatment detention. 3, promoting universal coverage by implementation of universal health coverage programs, encouraging all patients to enroll in SHA or other health insurance schemes to reduce dependency on direct cash. Mr. Speaker, further to this, we had a contact with the Cabinet Secretary, and he has actually agreed that they'll get the body released to the family. So that is the response.
When did you say the body is being released?
They are actually in the process and are expecting the family members to get in touch with them to get the body released.
Yeah, Honorable Nyikala, I have issues with that response. I hope you also note there are issues. And I wish all members, more so Senior Counsel Tiendia Molo, I see walking out. Senior Counsel Tiendia Molo, Honorable Rosa Buyu, this is a matter which required a bit of your legal, mind. I don't know whether the Speaker will be in his right place to call you back to take your seat. Yeah, please do. Please do, because this concerns the matter as to whether there is security in a dead body, which is something hospitals are doing across. Honorable Irene Kasalu, are you satisfied with this response?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And from the onset, I want to say that I'm not satisfied. The report says that the family has not presented itself. The family has been there numerous times, and they've been taken in circles with endless move from this office to the other office, and it's now 14 months, and this body is yet to be released. I spoke to the spouse of the deceased this afternoon, and he was at the mortuary, at the morgue, and the body is yet to be released. So, Mr. Speaker, I seek that the committee continues to engage the ministry until this body is released. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, at the very heart of this request is whether hospitals where any person dies can hold the body as security pending payment of hospital bills. And I requested Honorable Amolo to step back, not just as a senior counsel, but also because I remember a short while back, the High Court made a determination on this matter and directed that you cannot hold a dead body. And so what Honorable Nyikala is telling us is how the hospital can only sustain itself in what I believe against the law. Honorable Amolo, guide us on this matter before you go to those other national issues.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rarely find myself lost for words. But on this I am a bit lost, especially because I didn't quite follow the context. But to the extent of your briefing, I would say two things. First, that a distinction must be made between private hospitals and public hospitals. There are things private hospitals can do which public hospitals by law ought not to do. And in the event that we are talking of a public hospital, then the question of sustainability in terms of profit making ought not to arise and ought not to be the primary consideration. The second issue, which however is constitutional, is the right and entitlement to emergency medical treatment. Now, that is a constitutional right that accrues and covers both private and public hospitals. I would imagine that the dilemma some hospitals have faced, and I have suffered this myself, even as we speak, 2 of my constituents have been detained after passing on, one in a private hospital and one in a public hospital. For the private hospital, their argument was that they admitted as an emergency, but when the emergency ceased, they could not discharge because of risk of death. And that now that the person passed on, they ought to be paid what they were entitled to, and we are still engaging. And I think to that extent, many members here are in a similar situation. But as for the public hospitals, I think, and in compliance with the High Court order, the High Court did order that whatever the circumstances, you cannot detain a deceased person's body, to await payment of hospital bills. I think the hospitals must devise different ways of securing part of their payment, even from other people, without waiting that their own patient will become security in the event that they are deceased. Because I think that is demeaning to the deceased person, is demeaning to the family, and it becomes an impossibility. Because some of those instances, just yesterday I was being told of a situation of one of my constituents who has accumulated a bill of 9.5 million. And so some of these hospitals also intentionally sustain the patients, even when knowing they are beyond the point of redemption, just knowing that in African tradition, most people will not allow the deceased person to remain there. So it becomes a way of profiteering. I would urge that beyond any specific answer that would be given to this question, it should become an institutional issue that the committee should actually investigate, take into account the High Court decision, and come up with a recommendation that can be adopted by this House. Because we are all suffering and we all get these reports in this context. But I think merely an answer that says, the hospitals must sustain themselves would be insufficient. And I would agree with Honorable Kasalu. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, I wouldn't want to delve into the legal issues because that's your area of forte. But I just want to draw the attention to the hospitals and all over that Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya gives the rights to medical care regardless of the hospital. So at the starting point, no hospital should deny any human being, any person of whichever status in society, the right to medical care. Honorable Speaker, for any given time, it's the expectation of the patient when they walk into the hospital, they will get medical care and live to tell the story. Honorable Speaker, there have been many cases where patients have died because of hospital negligence. You have neglected, the negligence has caused death, and you are the first hospital, you are the first people who are demanding full payment of exorbitant hospital bills. There is a question of morality. Question of morality, Honorable Speaker. And I want to challenge Dr. Nyekal. I know he has become the chair It's unlike being the director of medical services. He's now the chair of the Committee of Health, where he has to listen to his fellow medics, but then he must also listen to the patients and listen to the families of the patients who suffer the trauma. Honorable Speaker, have you ever walked to a hospital or a mortuary? You are going to pick the body. You are psychologically set to go and bury that body. Then you are told, sorry, you can't pick the body because you must pay. How can a dead body be alien? Mama Lucy Kibaki asked, how can the dead learn lessons? So what lessons are you teaching the dead? We need to style up. I totally agree what Dr. Otieno Amolo has said. Hospitals must devise a way to ensure they have a way of collecting the money. In any case, Honorable Speaker, even if you are making profits, there's some abnormal profits that are excessively abnormal. You have a moral duty to plow back to society. Once you lose once in a while, you will recover another time. Dr. Nyikal, kazi kwako. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Lastly, Honorable Jaldesa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, this is a very sad situation that a body has been detained in a hospital, in a government public hospital, for more than 1 year. It is not acceptable. What I wanted the chair of health to tell us is, do we have a legal position, policy position, that says that a sick person who has been discharged from hospital should be released, once discharged, should be released within a certain period of time? That when somebody dies, traditionally, Mr. Speaker, when a body has not been claimed in 2 weeks, there are two options. Either the hospital takes the burden of burying it through the city council, or donate the body to the anatomy laboratory in Chiromo. Keeping the body for 14 months is unacceptable. And we need to know, how long do we want to hold on to the body? How long do we want to hold on to the sick person waiting to be paid? And we need to have a policy position that the chair of health from the ministry should guide us, so that the people know. Holding the body just because you want to pay bills. And SHA, Mr. Speaker, SHA pays only a very small proportion of the bills. So what happens to the balance? Because when we were passing the law on SHA, we had said that nobody should be raising fund to pay hospital bill. What is it that now, all of a sudden, SHA cannot pay? And that you only pay a small proportion and the family will cater for the rest. And yet, we know the level of index of poverty in this country.
Thank you, Honorable Jaldesa. Lastly, Honorable Karoli Omondi, Honorable Gishimu, and Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, for 1 minute each.
Chair, I must request for a little more time. You ordered me to come back, and I've applied my brain. So please indulge me. You ordered me to come back.
You're already eating into
yes,
your
please.
time.
Honorable Speaker, let me begin by saying that all these questions we are grappling with have already been answered by our Constitution and by the laws of this country. Let me start by saying categorically that there is no property in a dead body. Equally, there is no property in a person. That is why we have rules against servitude, slavery, and the rest. There is no property in a person. Equally, there is no property in a dead body. And if that is the case, a dead body can never be security. So you cannot detain it in settlement of outstanding financial obligations. Secondly, let me also acknowledge that under our laws, death creates certain ways of dealing with liabilities. As a sick person, that I owe the hospital that liability. But once I'm dead, the liability moves to my estate. And the law provides for the rules how to deal with liabilities of a dead person. So you cannot detain my body. You then have to deal with my estate. That is what our law says. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, let me also say that you cannot detain a person after treatment. That is deprivation of their liberty. And liberty is one of the rights that cannot be limited if you look at our Article 24 and 25. Even if you want to limit my freedom of movement, you can only do so by order of the court. In other words, the hospital has to go and say, we are detaining Karoli Omondi, we have treated him, he owes us money. The court has to give them an order, but they cannot stop me from leaving the hospital.
Honorable Karoli Omondi, let me interrupt you.
Yes.
To acknowledge an institution I see in the speaker's gallery. They are actually living. May they hold, let them not leave before they are. Let the students return so that we may recognize them before they leave. Yeah, so in the speaker's gallery, we have students from Tao Kingley School, Nakuru Town Constituency, Nakuru County. On my own behalf and on behalf of the National Assembly, we welcome you to the House to observe proceedings. This is one house of our Parliament of Kenya, where we deal with the matters oversight, representation, and of course legislation. You are in the House at a time we are dealing with the first limb, oversight, in terms of how the executive are serving the Kenyan people. Welcome to the House and observe the proceedings as you engage in your learning tour. You may conclude now, the Honorable Karoli Omondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As I've said, under Article 25 of the Constitution, you cannot limit liberty, and you cannot subject somebody to cruel and inhuman treatment and take away their dignity, like detaining a person who has been treated in a hospital. Finally, I think what we now need to deal with as a parliament is to seriously think how we can start regulating medical costs in this country. I think it is time to investigate what is happening in other jurisdictions, because these people charge whatever they want. Nobody looks into it. Nobody checks whether it is fair. Sick people don't have freedom of contract when you're trying to get into a hospital. You are basically at their mercy. And I think as a parliament, we need to come up with a law that regulates cost of medical services. That will also deal with elements of security that can be provided at the time of admission, so that we balance between commercial interest and the fundamental freedoms and the rights to fair treatment when you are sick. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gishimu, Senior Counsel.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me associate myself with the concerns by Honorable Kasalu on this matter. This matter is both a legal and a moral matter. Legal in the sense that the Constitution and even the High Court has already pronounced itself on this matter, that a body can never be a security for a bill. A dead body or a deceased person cannot to be a security for any bill. And Honorable Speaker, what even concerns most of the bills that are demanded by hospitals are bills for people who have passed on. Why? I investigated a matter for a person in my constituency who passed on. And what some of the hospitals do, they ramp up, they put, or they add bills that were not there because a dead body cannot talk. So you find once as a person passes on, there is a lot of things and a lot of money that is ramped up on the bill, so that this the relative of this person can pay. So I think this is a matter, I agree with my colleagues, that we need a policy, yeah, through the ministry, so that we can also legislate and be able to come up with a law. Though the High Court has already pronounced itself, we also have an obligation to come up with a law to prohibit such actions by hospitals and unscrupulous business people. I'll call them unscrupulous because some of the things that they're doing are totally immoral, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
Lastly, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi for 1 minute.
I've been sitting here for some time. Mr. Speaker, I think it's only fair that the learned friends here in this House could actually come up together and come up with the bill that can be passed to suffocate this problem, because morally it's wrong. And I've been very painful. It's so painful for the family who has lost one of their own, maybe the main breadwinner of the family, and the body cannot be released by the hospital because of maybe paying the bill. It's so painful, and therefore I think for us to have a way forward, the Speaker, let's sit. The learned friends in this House, I'm an economist myself, but I can see you're talking a lot of good laws. Let's sit together and see whether we can come up with some not so, some that can be able to help morally, can help our people out there, because somebody keeping the body for over even 2 months is wrong. And therefore, I suggest that this House come up with some law to be able to cover this area. Because it's very painful, and this House, it's a responsibility for us to come up with laws that can be able to help our people. I support that, but I think if it's a public hospital, it's different. Even if it's private, you actually, somebody mentioned here, there's a clause in the law that says once you get to the hospital, you actually you have a right to be treated by that particular hospital. They cannot throw you out. I therefore support this, but let's come up, and I think Speaker, you're one of the lawyers in this House, come up with something we'll be able to support you on the same. Thank you.
Dr. Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr.
Essentially, what I want to hear is when you are directing this body to be released. Because this matter, as I told you, is a matter the High Court, no lesser than the High Court of Kenya, has ruled on. You cannot detain a body. And Honorable Nyikal, let me tell you why I am a bit passionate about this matter. During the COVID period, my own mother-in-law got infected. And the lady stayed in some hospital in Mombasa for just 5 days. Because you remember the regulations required also burial within 7 days. And if you don't, the body were to be disposed by government. And having learned that the son-in-law was a member of parliament, 5 days I was hit with a bill of 2.3 million. And so you're put in a situation where you either pay or we go with the body. Think about the Muslims who have to be buried very quickly, where the court has also ordered that you cannot hold a dead body. Why should we be discussing this thing when another Kenyan who died a year ago is still rotting somewhere? Could you respond in terms of when this body can be released? If you cannot commit now, then tell us when you are calling the relevant agency before you, at the very earliest, to have the body released, not to have stories.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I did actually realize that this is actually an extremely important matter, and there is a lot more behind it than just a simple question of when the body is released. I did take up this matter with the minister even as late as yesterday, with the PS as early as today, and they have confirmed to me that this body is to be released. Actually, they were talking of today. So if that has not happened, we'll take that matter up, and I agree with the Honorable Kasalu that the committee undertakes to follow this matter up with the Kenyatta National Hospital until the body is released, and I don't think that should go beyond 1 week. If that, by the end, by early next week, Monday, Tuesday, if this has not happened, the committee will take up to call the Cabinet Secretary to the committee and with the Honorable Kasalu and get this matter resolved. As Mr. Speaker, this to me has raised very many issues, and you know, in my capacity, it's a thing I've thought about even before. Our Constitution, Article 43(1), as was actually quoted, says the right to health to everybody. But actually, Article 43(2) go and says the state will provide for those who cannot provide. So in that case, it is obvious that if it is a public hospital, that the matters should actually be taken up more urgently. Honorable Tiende raised the issue of what about the case of a private hospital? I think the Constitution doesn't seem to make a difference.
No, does not make a difference.
Does not make a difference.
Honorable Nyikal, having committed to secure release of the body, I don't think you need to...
I need to raise some issues that have been raised that are actually important for members to look at. The issue then has come, in that case, we have public hospitals that also have private wings. Do they now operate with that or not? So that's another policy issue that we have to look at. Honorable Tiende raised the issue of people staying into hospital when it is clear that death is now inevitable. I know that relates to the issue of people who are in ICU and are being supported, ICU support. What we need to look at in the law also is the definition of death. To a large extent, we are still using the heart stopping as a definition of death, but that is tricky because somebody can stay alive by that definition for many months on a ventilator. But what is now the practice, the doctor in charge is actually obliged to let the relatives know that this person is still alive because of the machine, and if the machine is stopped, then they will not live. And if they sign that they are happy with that, normally the difficulty is then who stops the machine. But what is done is it's left, and if the person now, the heart stops beating, then there is not resuscitated anymore. And the policy, somebody asked what is a policy. I inquired that from the hospital. Their policy is 6 months, and then they will put it they'll put a public notice, and the body will be actually either buried or some other way of dealing with it. As to a law, we need this law urgently, and I remember even Honorable Antonio Lochias actually made a proposal. There's another proposal. We need a law that is guiding on this issue of bodies, and I think it will be more comprehensive than just retaining the bodies. It will go even retaining people after they've been treated and how the bills can be recovered. I think that's something we now need to look at.
Thank you, Honorable Nyikal.
Just one more. Mr. Speaker, there is also the issue of the cost of care in the country. That's another place we have to look at the bill, looking at cost of care. And cost of care includes drugs, includes equipment, includes the hospital facilities that relate to just boarding. And so this is an area that we actually need to look at. And as a committee, I think we are obliged to actually start the process. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank you, Honorable Nyikal. Because of this exceptional matter, if by Tuesday this body would have not been released, Honorable Kasalu, at the right time, during the proceedings rise up so that we can follow through this undertaking made on behalf of the hospital by the chair of the departmental committee, or prefer other actions that the National Assembly, not acting in vain, could prefer. This is urgent. This is a Kenyan body which has been detained, in my view, for far too long. And Honorable Nyikal, the High Court case where this matter was determined is High Court of Kenya at Nairobi, civil suit number 448 of 2015. It was a case by Mary Nyang'any and another suing Karen Hospital Limited and another. So there is no distinction between public or private. The termination here is that no hospital can hold a dead body because there is no lien, no security in a corpse. You must release them as you check for other means. It was a decision by the Honorable Justice Sergon, one of our greatest judges. So there is no need for more policy. This is judge-made law, interpreting the law which already exists. So you stand directed in terms of what to do by Tuesday, if this would have not been done. Next order. Yeah, the leader of majority has papers to lay. Give Honorable Jematia the mic on behalf of the leader of majority.
ML. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the leader of the majority party, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2a, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 29th July 2025, to prioritize business for consideration during the next week. Honorable Speaker, with regards to business schedule for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to continue with the debate at second reading of the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill 2024 and the Kenya Science Language Senate Bill number 9 of 2023, should they not be concluded today. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, debate will be undertaken on the following motions, should they not be concluded today. Number 1, consideration of public finance management, public officers, medical fund, regulations 2024. Consideration of the 4th reports on the examination of financial statements of selected state corporations. Consideration of the reports on the examination of financial statement for the National Humanitarian Fund, and consideration of comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United Arab Emirates. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to inform the House that the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and the National Administration, who was scheduled to appear before the House this week, will now appear on the afternoon of Wednesday, 6 August 2025, to answer the following questions. Number 1, question by private notice number 08, 2025 by the member for Molo, Honorable Kuria Kimani, regarding the state of security in the country and steps being taken by the ministry to avert death and destruction of property during demonstration. Number 2, question by private notice number 9, 25, by member for Embakasi West, Honorable Mark Mwenje, regarding the circumstances that led to the death of Mr. Brian Luka Maina. Number 3, question number 63, of 2025, by the member of Rarieda, Honorable Otiende Omolo MP, regarding reasons why peaceful demonstrators protesting against the killing of Mr. Albert Ojwang on Tuesday, 17th June 2025, were prevented from exercising their guaranteed constitutional rights to peaceful assembly. Question number 065-4, 2025, by member for Nairobi County, Honorable Esther Passaris, regarding the non-implementation of body-worn cameras for all police officers involved in arrests, interrogations, and custodial transfer of suspects. Question number 065-2025, by the member for Suba North, Honorable Millie Odhiambo Mabona, regarding details on the number of people who have died in police custody in the last 5 months and reason for their deaths. Number 6, question number 066-2025, by the member for Seme, Honorable James Nikal, MP, regarding psychological and mental health assessments undertaken by the National Police Service Commission during the recruitment of police officers. Question number 0767-2025, by Member of Parliament Kadhiani, Honorable Robert Mbui, CBS, regarding the status of drug and substance abuse in the coastal region and measures put in place by the Ministry to combat drug and substance abuse across the country. And lastly, question number 068-2025, by the member for Mombasa County, Honorable Zamzam Mohammed, regarding circumstances under which Mr. Hassan Wasionga Ismail was denied a national identification card for over 4 years and his subsequent arrest for charges linked to an identification card he had never collected. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the House Business Committee will reconvene on Tuesday, 5th August 2025, to schedule business for the rest of the week. I now wish to lay this statement on the floor, on the table of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 16, motion, consideration of the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations 2024.
Mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee of the Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations 2024, laid on the table of the House on the Thursday, 24th July 2025, and pursuant to Section 24, Subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Chapter 412A. This House approves the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations published as legal notice number 195 of 2024. Honorable Speaker, legal notice number 195 of 2024 was published in the Kenya Gazette on the 6th December 2024 and laid on the table of the House on the 27th May 2025. It was made pursuant to Section 24, Subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, thus qualifying as a statutory instrument within the meaning of Section 2 of the Statutory Instruments Act. Honorable Speaker, the object and the purpose of this Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulation 2024 are to establish the Public Officers Medical Fund to ensure continuity of medical benefits for public officers, and even after they have exhausted the comprehensive range of health services provided by the Social Health Authority, SHA. Honorable Speaker, specifically the fund will be used to finance the provisions of medical scheme for public officers and facilitate any expenses approved by the administrator of the fund and thus promote the objectives of the fund. Honorable Speaker, let me give a few highlights of these regulations. And part 1 of the regulations contains obviously the preliminaries on interpretations and the objects of the regulations. And basically the objects of these regulations is to provide a framework for the administration and management of the medical scheme for the public officers. Of interest is also the interpretation on under Regulation 2 on public officer, which includes officers appointed by the Public Service Commission, the Office of the Attorney General, or any other public entity, including county governments, commission service, state corporation, or any other public service entity that opts to make payments to the fund for medical benefits of its officers. You'll note, Honorable Speaker, that there are some government entities, agencies, which already have medical schemes for their workers, and if they want also to enjoin in this scheme, that avenue also allows them to do so. Honorable Speaker, Part 2 of these regulations provide for the establishment of the fund and the sources of the fund, and which is mainly that the National Assembly may appropriate these funds, and also contribution made by the ministry responsible for public service and any other employer who has opted to contribute to these funds. Honorable Speaker, under Regulation 5, the purpose of the fund shall be to finance the provisions of medical scheme for public officers and to facilitate expenses approved by the administrator of the fund in order to promote the objective for which the fund is established. Going to Regulation 8, provides for the payment out of the fund, which shall be only to the SHA. Actually, this fund shall be managed by another government agency, so there is no avenue that this money can be used in other way other than and actually managed by the Social Health Authority in respect of medical claims and other expenses incurred pursuant to the purposes of which the fund is established. Honorable Speaker, there is Part 3, which provides for the administration of the fund, and it gives it shows that there is a body that will be administering this fund. And also Part 4, it is the financial provisions which provide for the manner in which the fund will be managed and accounted for in line with the principles of the good finance management. Part 5, Honorable Speaker, is the miscellaneous provisions which indicates that expenses should not exceed 3%. The administrative expenses, that is, should not exceed more than 3%. Actually, should not exceed 3% of the approved budget of each financial year. It also provides for the review of the performance of the fund and also on winding up of the fund. Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya introduced comprehensive medical insurance scheme for civil servants and disciplined services and their dependents in 2012, known as the Comprehensive Medical Insurance Scheme for Civil Servants and Disciplined Services. The scheme started with the basic coverage of the principal member and 3 dependents, and was later enhanced to cover a principal member and 6 dependents. This package covers outpatient, inpatient, specialized services, dental, optical, and annual medical checkups, among other benefits. So the recent, the establishment of SHA, of course, facilitates all Kenyans' recent comprehensive range of quality health services, which include integrated, preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative health services at level 4, 5, and 6 health services. And now this fund comes in now to help the civil servants continue to receive medical benefits as part of their remuneration under the new healthcare framework, which is now to complement what SHA is already offering. And it has already been, it is known that actually SHA is not covering everything. So, Honorable Speaker, under this arrangement, civil servants will first utilize the full range of medical services available through the SHA. And once these benefits are exhausted, now they have an avenue through this fund now to take care of further medical needs or demands, and hence this public officers medical scheme. Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Delegated Registration accordingly considered these regulations in accordance with the Constitution, the Statutory Instruments Act, the Public Finance Management Act, under which it is anchored, and the Interpretation and General Provisions Act, Chapter 2 of the Laws of Kenya. And in compliance with Section 16 of the Statutory Instruments Act, the committee also confirmed with the National Treasury and Economic Planning in a meeting held on Wednesday, 16th July 2025, before arriving at its final recommendation. During its scrutiny of the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulation 2024, the committee made the following observations. A, the regulations were published in the Gazette on the 6th December 2024, submitted to the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 20th December 2024, and laid before the House on the 27th May 2025, and all within the statutory period requirements as per the Section 11(1), subsection 1 of the Statutory Instruments Act. B, a multi-agency task force convened during the drafting of the regulations held targeted consultations with stakeholders, and their input were taken into account. In addition, the National Treasury, together with the State Department for Public Service, invited public feedback on the Treasury website, and my government edition on 12th November 2024. Therefore, the regulations making authority undertook extensive public participation, stakeholder consultation in line with Articles 10 and 118 of the Constitution and Section 5 of the Statutory Instruments Act. Number C, that is on the observation of the committee, that a separate regulatory impact assessment was not required in this case, as the regulations fall within the exemption criteria under Section 9 of the Statutory Instruments Act. Honorable Speaker, having examined the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations 2024, against the Constitution and all the relevant enabling laws, the committee found no inconsistencies or legal deficiencies, and accordingly, pursuant to Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Chapter 412A, the committee recommends that this House approves the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations 2024, legal notice number 195 of 2024 in its entirety. Honorable Speaker, the committee wishes to express its gratitude to the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the National Assembly for the unwavering support accorded to the committee during the discharge of its oversight mandate. We also recognize the commitment and dedication of the committee members and the technical team for their tireless work in consideration of these regulations. On behalf of the members of the Committee on Delegated Legislation and pursuant to Standing Order 210, it is my honor and duty to table and move adoption of the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on the consideration of the Public Finance Public Officers Medical Fund Regulation 2024, legal notice number 195 of 2024. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I now call upon Honorable Member for Kilgoris, Honorable Julius Sunkuli, to second.
The Honorable Julius Sunkuli.
Yes, Mr.
Mr. Speaker, in seconding this motion, I just want to make a few observations. I am a member of the Committee of Delegated Legislation that deliberated on these regulations. Now, the regulations, of course, are made under the PFMA Act because it establishes a fund. And this is this fund is for the public servants, all the 140,000 of them in Kenya, who will now have to benefit from this fund. Mr. Speaker, the reason behind it is when SHA came into operation, actually it abolished what we used to call the enhanced schemes. So the ones that used to be with the police, the ones that used to be with other civil servants, and subjected everybody to go to the social health authority. Now, everybody is covered. Every civil servant is covered. However, Mr. Speaker, it has also been seen that in order for civil servants to continue benefiting from a more comprehensive scheme, then they needed a separate fund. And it was agreed, and agreed also by government, that this fund will be financed by, first of all, appropriations from this House, secondly, by employer contribution, and thirdly, by grants. This will give a very comprehensive coverage to the members of the public service. But it is also one of the recommendations of these regulations that a civil servant needs to first exhaust all the other available schemes before they can benefit from this particular one. So it's not just a question of last resort, but you know, in our SHA, maybe to go for dental checkup, you'll only get up to 900 shillings. Maybe as a civil servant, that is not going to be possible. But then that's when the medical fund will kick up, and you will now be able to use that. Now, we have also increased the number of dependents. From the 2012 regulations, now you can actually, it's a principal plus 6 others who will benefit from this scheme. These will, of course, cover everything: emergency services, abroad treatment, checkups for 1 year, and dental, optical, and all the things that the mover of the motion has agreed. We have looked at it, Mr. Speaker, and we say that these are good regulations. They comply with the Statutory Instruments Act, they comply with the Constitution, and they will be very helpful to the medical, to the civil service. Mr. Speaker, I commend these regulations to the House, and I beg to second.
Honourable members, I now propose the question that this House adopt the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management, Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations 2024, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 24th July 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24, subsection 4 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, this House approves the Public Finance Management Public Officers Medical Fund Regulations, published as legal notice number 195 of 2024. The Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to laud the committee for approving the regulations that provides enhanced cover, medical cover, for those working in the public service. Honorable Speaker, when SHA came in, the various laws of SHA, they abolished those preferential treatment, enhanced treatment that was common during the NHIF era. So that meant that the civil servant, even if could afford, had no opportunity to get better medical cover. We do hope that this will elevate that problem, and the public servants will work knowing that they are covered adequately. Honorable Speaker, there are a few fundamental issues that we must put in mind here. Number one, we have just had a concluded debate here concerning the case of the retained body. We do hope there's adequate provisions to ensure that a public servant will not go through that ignominy of having the body, his or her body, or the body of a dependent held in hospital because of high medical bills. I hope the committee apply themselves and put adequate safeguards in that regard. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, we just hope and pray that the membership of the scheme is voluntary, is not by force, and is not mandatory. Why dare I say so, Honorable Speaker? I sit in Public Accounts Committee, and one of the cross-cutting audit query is that a majority of the civil servants are taking home less than a third of the basic pay as required by regulations. They do that why? In the past few years, there has been an increase of taxes. The executive has raided, as they call it, the pay slip. They have left the pay slip in tatters. So you find at any given time, majority of the civil servants, public servants, are unable to sustain themselves because majority of they get less than a third, and they keep on flouting the law and the attendant regulations. Honorable Speaker, there must have been a reason why they did so. And where has the taxes come from? Enhanced SHA, NSSF, housing levy, now increase on other taxes, payee, and those kind of things. Then there's that contributory pension scheme, superannuation, something like that. So to the extent, Honorable Speaker, they are no longer able to afford a decent livelihood. I hope the committee also took that in cognizance, the issue of a third salary rule, to ensure that the civil servants, as they contribute to this enhanced scheme, they are able to meet other contingent and existing liabilities. Honorable Speaker, me and you, we represent rural constituencies. And one of the people who are most dire, when it comes even applying for bursary, they will come and plead with you, are actually the teachers and any other civil servants working in the rural areas or working for even some with the county governments. We need to look at it in totality. A worker is obliged morally to live a certain decent lifestyle. A worker coming to you to pay for him, to buy Panadol or malaria dose because the county government cannot provide this kind of medicine, you are saddling him or her with additional costs. It is surely a terrible story that as a country we must address. I just plead and request the executive, Salaries Remuneration Commission, look at the public servants. They are truly suffering, and they are suffering what we call, is it pecuniary or pecuniary embarrassment? As a man, you go home with 5,000 out of a salary of probably 100 and something, because taxes, loans you have taken to pay fees for school for kids, you have taken a loan to build a house so that your wife can sleep somewhere decently. You have taken a loan to even connect electricity to your house so that your kids can watch TV, watch Honorable Kaluma presiding over the assembly. It is a very terrible and horrible status. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Anthony Oloch, Council.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I am a member of the Committee on Delegated Legislation. I stand to support, and I wanted to raise just three salient issues and underlying things that this House should take into consideration. First, Honorable Speaker, is that under our Standing Orders 210, the Constitution and the Statutory Instruments Act, there are two procedures through which regulations come into force, but the underlying principles in both of them is that regulations come into force unless nullified by this House. And so, as the mover of the motion of the report has said, these regulations were published in December of last year. They became operational, but this House had to consider them for the second salient point that I wanted to bring to attention of this court, of this House, and which is that under the PFM Act, the regulations would ordinarily come to force or to consideration by way of the Statutory Instruments Act. But to the extent that this creates a fund under sections 24(4) and 24(5) of the PFM Act, only the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury can create a fund, and therefore this fund, which are known as the Public Finance Management Public Officers Funds Regulation 2024, had to come through the PFM Act. The third point that I wanted to raise is that under proposed regulation 5, which if we approve, it is expressed that these regulations are supposed to provide or intended to provide enhanced cover. The equivalent of this, Honorable Speaker, is what we have as the parliamentary medical scheme or fund. So everybody is equalized under the social health insurance in terms of the universal cover, but in order to access any enhanced benefits, a medical fund equivalent to the parliamentary one would be established. And this is what they have sought to do under this, so that the public servants are now able to, over and above the minimum universal benefits that every Kenyan is entitled to, they are therefore able to now have an enhanced cover. Honorable Speaker, as I make my two last points, we challenged the committee, or rather the Treasury and the people who brought this bill, that there is a provision which I think Honorable Oundo has adverted to when we came with SHA. When SHA came, it removed all preferential treatments that would have been there that allowed certain people to have certain covers that were different from others. And therefore, when we posed the question to them, whether the bringing of these regulations would be inconsistent with the express provisions now existing of SHA. That was adequately answered by the fact that these regulations are brought under the the PFM Act, which takes precedence over any other act. So any challenge that then would be brought into this would be answered by the fact that the PFM Act takes precedence where there is an inconsistency or a matter that brings that into conflict. Last point that I wanted to make is just to bring out one issue which I think ought to have been a cleaning up issue. Under Regulation 13 of the Statutory Instruments Act, it provides for the format and manner of bringing of statutory instruments and the relevant things that must be taken into considerations. Those relevant things include, under Regulation 13L of the Statutory Instruments Act, it says that these regulations must not, it must not inappropriately delegate legislative power. And I think this is one oversight that they had, to the extent that when you look at Regulation 11L, it proposes that certain powers which are not defined have been left here to be given to the Cabinet Secretary, and it says that perform such other as may be assigned by the Cabinet Secretary responsible for public service. I think this is an inconsistency which they may need to clean, because it would then be running afoul of Regulation 13M of the Statutory Instrument Act. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I support and I allowed the committee for the...
The Honorable Andrew Okwome Adepo, the MP for Karachuonyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Now, I want to start by saying that when SHA came into being, like my other colleagues have said, nearly all medical schemes were collapsed into one under SHA. And although this one may fall under PFM, the essence of, or the reason why they were collapsing the original schemes into one, I don't think is really out of what we are discussing now. I see that there is an element of discrimination here, because this new scheme, the Public Health Fund, Public Officer Health Fund, is supposed to take care of the excess cases which are not covered by SHA. But that kind of situation is really for all Kenyans. It is not just for those who are in public service. It is for everybody. Unless this scheme allows anyone, whether public officer or not, if the private companies, if there are people who can join this scheme, they should be allowed, in order that we don't have the element of discrimination. Health is a very important commodity. People need it in equal terms. When somebody is feeling sick, if somebody has a chronic illness, he needs as much medical attention as any other person. And therefore, I feel the committee should look into that element of the discrimination, because I'm sure later Kenyans are going to come up with complaint that the civil servants, the public servants, have come up with a scheme which is only favoring them because they have probably enough money to pay for the excess cost of having this particular scheme. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to comment on these few observations that I have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Okwome. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Embu County, the Honorable Dabo N.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And indeed, I want to support the regulation of the Public Officers Medical Fund. Why? We know that the public officers sometimes may exhaust the SHA money that probably was entitled to them. And with this regulation, Honorable Speaker, then it means we will be able, or the public officers will be able, to bridge the gap without any difficulties, Honorable Speaker. Again, Honorable Speaker, in addition to the amendment of this regulation, we have realized that it is not just the former dependents. There's an additional of 6 dependents, meaning that the bigger family will be able to be catered for through this regulation. So, Honorable Speaker, as I support this regulation, it is good to know that our public officers, they are our brothers, they are our sisters, and therefore we need to know that when we support them through this regulation, it means we are taking care of our own. And again, Honorable Speaker, it will also give them dignity or dignified life when it comes to matters health with this regulation of the public officers. So I want to support this regulation and say that it is even long overdue. It should be enhanced and it should be implemented as soon as possible. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Rindikiri Mugambi, the Member of Parliament for Buri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the committee for coming up with these regulations. Mr. Speaker, in this country, we have a very big pool of people who have worked tirelessly for this country. Civil servants, teachers, people in the armed forces, people in the security systems, people who have been ambassadors. All of them are very important people in our society. They sacrificed many years of service for this country. And rarely do many people really know what they go through when they leave the civil servants. Mr. Speaker, if you go to America, you're going to find the war veterans are very dignified people in that community. Mr. Speaker, you'll find that those people who have rendered service to the American, they are given a lot of dignity and respect. Mr. Speaker, we have sat in this house. We have also said that members of Parliament have contributed quite a lot to the country. When we leave this house, rarely many people remember the contribution they have made. I stand here in recognition of the enormous contribution of our civil servants. Even quite civil servants, Mr. Speaker, working in state corporations. I stand here to identify myself with them. You know, we have been called for Alambis to fundraise for the families of these people. For these people themselves, it is so indignifying that somebody who has been a serious working for this country is now being fundraised to attend for medical, for burial, many things. And that's where we are losing it, Mr. Speaker. So I stand because these are our brothers and sisters. I don't see where the contradiction to come. I know it has financial implication, but I think we need to apportion part of the government resource to the dignity of these people in terms of medical services. I therefore would say that these regulations are coming at the right time. Of course, there will be those people who come up and start opposing and say we are only taking care of these people. But let's go back again to the moral obligation And this house, we have a moral obligation. A few minutes ago, Mr. Speaker, we are talking about disposing a body which has been there for 14 months. That body does not have value, but the family have value, and the government in support. So I support these regulations and say whatever financial implication is, it needs to be implanted so that we can identify ourselves and give these people a good medical attention as they increasingly retire and continue their life needed to go to heaven. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ndikiri Mugambi, for those passionate contributions. There being no more interests, the mover will now reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I reply, I would like to point out a few issues that have been raised by some members. Honorable Speaker, this scheme will not attract any further contribution from the public servants or those are in the civil service. So there's no need of having it voluntarily because it will carry everyone on board because they are already contributing in SHA. So that concern about the payslip should not be there. And Honorable Speaker, public servants are in different categories, including state officers like us. We are categorized as state officers and many other government institutions where they can be able to pay for their own people or the people who are working under them. So in this case, those that have never had that avenue for an institution to pay for them, this fund now comes in handy. And those are the civil servants. Yeah? Those who wake up very early in the morning, leave offices late working. For the Kenyans, they also need to be dignified through a medical scheme that also bridges the gap that is left by the SHA. So the issue of discrimination may not arise here because those other people, those other Kenyans are usually taken through what we call mean testing instrument. And by virtue of that mean testing instrument, someone is placed at a level that you can be able to pay because these others are actually their fund, the SHA fund is actually through the payslip. So, Honorable Speaker, without belaboring the points, because I had already moved the motion and all the points are clear, and this committee is only supposed also to look at the various compliance with the Constitution, the Parent Act, and any other enabling law. Honorable Speaker, I thank all the members who have contributed in support of this motion, and I beg to reply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Robert Gichimu. The question to this motion stands deferred to the future, and the House Business Committee will next schedule it for the consideration of the House. Next order.
Order number 17, motion, consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of selected state corporations.
Mover. Yeah, this one was to be moved by Honorable Wangwe. Yeah. You want to speak to...
Honorable Speaker, This matter was raised earlier when the substantive speaker was on the chair. We need to be guided because we have a supplementary order paper. That's what we are told to make reference to. And the supplementary order paper, Honorable Speaker, order number 15 is just the matter we have just concluded. From the Committee on Delegated Legislation, order number 16 is the one for consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of selected state corporations. This being a house of record, can we be so sure which order paper are we using? Is there another supplementary order paper, or is that what has been uploaded on the app, National Assembly app? Is the wrong one? What's the issue? So that we put this matter put the record straight. We don't want any busybody outside there to raise concerns that a matter was discharged that was not on the order paper of the sitting. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Undo, we are on order number 17, the motion on consideration of the report on the examination of financial statements of the selected state corporations, which was to be moved by Honorable Wangwe. Is your order paper speaking to the same?
The order paper that's appearing on the tablet here on this gadget we normally use, order number 17, is the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024 by the Honorable Naisula Lesuda MP, which is due for second reading. There must be a confusion somewhere.
Yeah, thank you for drawing that to the attention. I hear you to be saying that what is on our digital system is different from the printed order paper. That will be taken up by our ICT department. We will go by the order paper in print form. I think we proceed in that manner. Honorable members, I was informed by Honorable Wangwe that he would be out of the house, engaged in other state duties. So this particular order will be stepped down to the future. Next order.
Order number 18, the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024, second reading.
The Honorable Naisula Lesuda MP to move.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I would like to take this opportunity to thank God for giving me this chance to finally move this bill, the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill 2024, which I had started to work on a long time ago, and I am happy to move it now. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all members of staff who have worked tirelessly with me to make this possible under the stewardship of the able clerk and the Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to thank the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, led by the Chairman George Kariuki, for interrogating the bill extensively and coming up with solid recommendations that will enrich the bill. I would also like to thank the Ministry of Transport, led by the CS, Davis Chirchir, and the Kenya Roads Board, and everyone else who sent in their comments that will definitely enrich this bill. Mr. Speaker, I thank the cycling community of Kenya, including one of us in this house, Honorable Passaris, for their insights and push the entire time I've been working on this bill, and the Worldwide Fund for Nature Kenya, WWF Kenya, led by the former Director of Communication, Judy Kosgei, for their immense support and input the entire period. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, a cyclist who has been a champion of a holistic, non-motorized transport system and a just road system in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, you know that most of the time when I rise on this floor, I am discussing matters Samburu West. But I'm very happy that today I am discussing a matter or I'm moving an amendment to a bill that touches on each and every Kenyan in every part of this country, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I rise as a Kenyan, I rise as a representative of millions of Kenyans whose voices and footsteps are often ignored because they do not drive, because they cannot afford a car, or move from point A to B using a PSV or matatu, but because they move on foot, on bicycles, or in wheelchairs. Honorable members, today I rise to sponsor the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill. At its core is about justice, dignity, and safety on our roads. This bill is not about who you voted for. It is not about which side of the aisle you sit on. This bill is about Kenya. And it is about ending the systemic justice that exists on the Kenyan roads. Let me be clear. The current road design framework in our urban and peri-urban areas excludes the majority. Our roads are built for motorized vehicles, as if only those with or in cars deserve to move safely. As if dignity, safety, and access are luxuries reserved for the few who prefer or can afford motorized transport. But honorable members, what happens to the millions of Kenyans, the real majority, our children who walk every day to school, hard-working Kenyans who walk to work, to the market? What about the cyclists trying to survive in our chaotic road networks? What about people with disabilities using wheelchairs, struggling to cross highways that were never designed with them in mind? This bill is all about them. This bill seeks to make it mandatory that all new roads and any roads undergoing major repairs or upgrades must include safe, accessible, and designated infrastructure for non-motorized transport. They must have cycling lanes, pedestrian walkways, and crossings that uphold the basic human right to move safely. Honorable members, how many more pedestrians must die? How many more cyclists must be left bleeding on the tarmac before we act? Every day, we lose lives that could be saved, not because of natural disasters, but because of policy neglect. Because we chose to build roads for cars, not for people. Because we keep saying not now. Because we keep saying the budget will not allow. Actually, most of my colleagues have asked me or were telling me, where will the money be found? And it has continued to be an excuse, Mr. Speaker. And meanwhile, another family buries a loved one who simply tried to cross the road. Let me also speak about health and climate. We all know the burden of non-communicable diseases in Kenya. We all know the link between physical activity and good health. Imagine if more people could safely walk or cycle to work or school. We would reduce traffic congestion, lower our carbon emissions, and promote healthier lifestyles. We speak passionately about climate change on the global stage. Honorable members, but what about the choices we make at home? Are our roads climate smart? Are they human-centered? Are we building a Kenya where the only safe way to move is inside a vehicle? And yes, Honorable Speaker, Kenya is now like a construction site. Thanks to the securitization of the Road Maintenance Levy Fund, we have resumed over 500 stalled road projects. That is commendable. But I ask you, how many of those roads under this renewed funding model include walking and cycling lanes? Are we simply repeating the same exclusionary patterns of the past? Are we rebuilding injustice with fresh tarmac? Honorable members, I urge you today, stand in the shoes of the pedestrian, sit in the wheelchair, ride the bicycle, feel the fear of the mother crossing the road with her child and no zebra crossing in sight. Today, their lives are in our hands. Their safety lies in our vote. Their dignity rests on whether we choose to design Kenya for all or for a few privileged. This is not a radical bill. It is just a reasonable one. It is not about politics. It is about public safety, human rights, climate change, and social justice. And before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I know that many of my colleagues and even those who have accessed this bill online have asked me about the boda bodas, Mr. Speaker. It is important that I mention here that the boda bodas are part of the motorized transport according to this bill. Because I define non-motorized transport means all forms of travel that do not rely on an engine or motor for movement and includes walking, cycling, and mobility assistance devices. Non-motorized vehicle also means any vehicle that is not self-propelled and includes bicycle, wheelchair, and scooters. Well, a pedestrian is a person traveling on foot, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to indulge us to think about it. Every day when you're driving to work or when you're going home, who are the majority? Is it those who are in cars, or is it those who are struggling to get where to walk, to work, or to school, or to their homes, Mr. Speaker? If you check Wayaki Way, because I use it every morning and evening, it is an expanded road that has nowhere, no beginning and no end. There are no markings, there are no lights to it. You don't know which lane you're taking, Mr. Speaker. I think all the involved authorities, Kenya Rural, Kera, Kura, Kenha, they have to be accountable, Mr. Speaker. When you use Ngong Road, a road just ends. You can imagine even the number of accidents we are having, leave alone now wanting the walkways. A road just abruptly ends, there's a blockage somewhere there, and if you use that road last night, you're not sure how to use it the next day, Mr. Speaker. And also, I know that for a fact, Nairobi City, or the Nairobi Metropolis, when we had the NMS, take over Nairobi County, Mr. Speaker. They really tried to do the walkways. If you just walk around Nairobi, I know even the Nairobi County right now is trying to do it, Mr. Speaker. But the thing is, sometimes you find a walkway, it ends abruptly to a ditch. So even, I'm sure in areas like Kileleshwa, areas that people even in the evening would want to walk. So as you're walking in the middle of nowhere, there is a ditch. You have to come back to the road before again you get to that pathway, Mr. Speaker. And so these are not matters that are out of this world. It also does not take rocket science for us to think about them and implement, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we don't even have to have a law to have pathways, to have a place where people using wheelchairs can use on the roads, or cyclists, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we're legislating just on our bad manners as a country. It's just simple bad manners to have a road that has no access for someone who wants to walk, for someone who wants to cycle, for someone who is on a wheelchair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also signages. It's terrible in our country. There are no signages on where we are going. Also, we have bad manners. If the signages are put up, those who want scrap metal also steal the scrap metal. And we have to get a little bit organized as a country, Mr. Speaker. Also, on the issue of us benchmarking, most of us have traveled out of this country, Mr. Speaker. Even those who sit in those authorities and the Ministry of Infrastructure and those who are supposed to effect this, Mr. Speaker, they travel out of the country. They enjoy walking in those pathways out there. There are even beautiful parks. You sit on the parks, you walk around those parks, Mr. Speaker. But when we come back home and we say we have just gone to benchmark, what happens? You just get back into your cars here and nothing happens. I enjoy to walk myself. I think because I'm a Samburu, so I walk. Many ask me, how do you keep fit? Oh, you just had a baby the other day. You're back into shape. You're back into form. It's because I like to walk. I walk every morning. I enjoy where I live because I'm able to walk. I enjoy going to Karura. But sometimes, also when I'm stuck in traffic, like yesterday, I would enjoy just to get out of my car and walk. Some of us don't have enemies. We are not afraid of anyone in this town, in this city. Would like to walk, Mr. Speaker. But I need a pathway. I need a walkway to walk on, Mr. Speaker. The bill also touches on our counties because we know that there are some roads and our counties will be involved in this. So it also touches on our counties, Mr. Speaker. And so the bill, I know that I've noticed that there's one issue, clause 9. The idea on clause 9 was that the already existing roads, we give it a maximum of 15 years. Because, I mean, just getting the resources for all the roads across the country, we can give it a max. So maybe, not maybe, we will have an amendment so that it is clear that when this bill is assented to, and I do pray that this House passes and the President assents to it, when it is assented to, any other road that will be designed, that will be built, Mr. Speaker, in our country will have the walkways and the pathways and also the cycling lanes, Mr. Speaker. But immediately. But for the existing roads, we can give it a time frame. And I will be proposing that we give it 15 years, Mr. Speaker, so that we ensure that we include that. I know the whole issue about expenses and how expensive it is, Mr. Speaker. The loss of one life on the road is already too expensive. And also, I know for a fact that even some of our roads, we exaggerate the amount. If we are truthful, if we are not corrupt, if we use the resources that have been given to us, not so that there is a markup for a kickback, but to do the right thing, Mr. Speaker, there will be money for that walkway. There will be money for that cycling lane, Mr. Speaker. And so this excuse of we have money to do all other manner of things to get kickbacks from the contractors and things like that, but we are saying we cannot be organized. We have African countries just here, just go to Rwanda. We cannot keep comparing ourselves to our neighbors every other day. We want even other African countries to come to Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and say that Kenya is doing the right thing. And as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to say that the bill, we will be having penalties. I have seen that even in some areas where there are already existing walkways, Mr. Speaker, you find buses parking. They use the walkways as their parking lot. You find border borders using it as their parking lot. And now when you're trying to walk, you don't know where to walk, Mr. Speaker. There has also to be penalties for any motorized transport that parks or uses. If you, I'm sure as you're driving, you see buses crossing over to where the pedestrians are walking or the cyclist, Mr. Speaker. And so this bill just doesn't touch on the health of Kenyans, on the effect on the climate change. We cannot be talking about climate change big in the big stages, but when we come back home, we do not have such kind of spaces. And so I do pray that we will support this amendment. I urge you that you support the Kenya Roads Amendment Bill. Let us make Kenya walkable. Let us make Kenya cyclable, livable for everyone. I do thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Who is seconding? Beg to move and give us the person seconding.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do beg to move and request Honorable Oundo to second.
The Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me at the onset to sincerely thank Honorable Esuda for this well thought out bill. Let me also congratulate her for having had the courage to move to where we are. And Honorable Speaker, I stand here to second and sincerely thank all those who have worked to get to this level. Many of us, Honorable Speaker, hardly ever get to this level with such a controversial bill. I'm a victim of such circumstances, but I really don't care. But at least once we get where we are, it's a good idea. Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying, one time I was in Houston, in Texas, and where I was seated, the debate was, who is the owner of the city? Are they the motor vehicles or the citizens? Of course, coming from the third world country, our priorities are completely different. I hardly ever had an opportunity to have to make any positive contribution. At the end of the debate, they concluded the citizens have got a superior right compared to motor vehicles. So they said whenever there's any conflict between the right of a motorist and a pedestrian, the pedestrian's rights takes precedence. And I think reading this bill, listening to the mover, passionate as she has been, I'm inclined to agree with the conclusion on the debate that the city, the country, everywhere belongs to the citizens, not to the motor vehicles, not to the motorists. Honorable Speaker, I also want to draw attention that in my other life, when I was doing my PhD thesis, and I did on urban form and its impact on land values and the kind of things, one of the issues that came out very clearly that has got a bearing to the land form of any urban area are the means of transport, both motorized and motorized. You would find it was some kind of a conclusion that Kenyans, Nairobians specifically, would prefer to stay far away from the city where they can get motorized means of transport because the city is not habitable for non-motorized dwellers. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, again, before I came here, I was involved in a consultancy, and I always hope one day it will come through, the non-motorized design of Nairobi City. The issue of the viaduct, the issue of the so many other things. Some of the recommendations we made were being implemented by NMS. Unfortunately, when NMS collapsed, the current regime, and I have nothing against the MPs from Nairobi who have been unable to push their governor to do anything, that matter went to a dead end. But that's a story for another day. Honorable Speaker, let me also draw a story normally of my age mate. He's called Levi Mwasigadi. We normally meet where our ZC to talk about current issues. He always wonder why, when there's a plane crash, there is always headline, which only kills very few people in a year. When you look at the 3,000 or 4,000 Kenyans who die on the road, majority, 80%, are pedestrians. Why do they die? They die simply because they have no space on the roads. The roads have been taken over by motor vehicles, by matatus, by now the emerging phenomenon of above the law borders. Kenyans have nowhere to walk. Honorable Speaker, I am a researcher and somehow I like researching. One morning, just stand around Uhuru on the way from Kibra. You see the sea of humanity that walks to Nairobi, to the CBD. Honorable Speaker, if we could have much more non-motorized paths, Honorable Speaker, many of us, I even included, I would prefer to walk because I find the gym a bit too cumbersome. I would prefer to walk so that I can maintain a certain body weight. As you age, some of those things becomes important. So, Honorable Speaker, the bill before us is so important that everybody, wherever they are, they must take notice of this bill. Because what the gracious lady has said, he has said several things. Number one, all roads being designed after the assent of this bill must provide for pathways, non-motorized place, for cyclists and foot pedestrians. To me, that is such a revolutionary thinking that we cannot even have a debate. I hope the president will not be pushed and moved by some interested parties to probably return under Article 115, which ties the hands of the people. I hope the Departmental Committee on Transport will not have to be, coerced by some parties elsewhere to make amendments. Honorable Speaker, it is sometimes very cumbersome. You are on the road, besides you, a boda is on the edge. Besides you, there's a cyclist on your edge. Besides you, there is a foot pedestrian who has nowhere to go, but has to walk along the road because the footpath are either not existence, they are waterlogged with water, they are packed with the public transport trucks calling for customers. We must, Honorable Speaker, really address these challenges. Another matter that I would want her to have addressed, Honorable Lesuda, matter that we ought to have addressed and which I would wish you to address are security lines, dedicated security lanes on any road. Honorable Speaker, I shudder always when I'm on the road and then the ambulance is blaring behind you. You have nowhere to turn to let the ambulance go and discharge or deliver a patient that requires emergency medical attention. Honorable Speaker, this can be done such that to an extent that those ambulances, those footpaths, those lanes dedicated for fire engine, for security operations, should never at any given time, Honorable Speaker, be used by any other person other than those dedicated persons. So we'd want, with the indulgence at the Committee of the Whole House, we make that amendments so that now we make it necessary and a must for us to have the same. Honorable Speaker, when you go to Clause 8, Honorable Speaker, provides that the Principles Act amended by Section 50, the traffic police, Honorable Speaker, the reason why we have so many accidents in this country is the human failure of the traffic police. And I do hope she would have provided an arrangement, would provide an arrangement whereby the traffic police are assigned to man a certain section of the road. If what's supposed to happen does not happen, there must be a penalty. There must be a sanction on that traffic police officer. We have gotten to a point, Honorable Speaker, that civil servants, those charged with responsibility of enforcing any particular laws and rules, must take personal responsibility for failure to enforce the same. Of course, again, on the Clause 8, there are a few amendments, like B, there's a typo that needs to be addressed. Honorable Speaker, 15 years, we'll have to debate, might be necessarily too long. Honorable Speaker, there is money in this country. The other day we met Cabinet Secretary Chirchir before he jettisoned those senior staff in these road agencies. He complained openly that the same road China does with a certain amount of money, Kenya is done by more than 3 times. Honorable Speaker, I sit again Public Accounts Committee. There was a road that was done in Bomet by around 100 million per kilometer. 100 million per kilometer. If we just became rational, Honorable Speaker, we can sort out all our problems.
Give Honorable Dr. Wilberforce Oundo 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I was saying, there is enough money in this country. Where the money is lost, the Almighty God normally sees. Probably one day, He will help us solve this problem. The money is there. We can actually operationalize this bill within a matter of 5 years. How much does it take to cut off a small space? With those very many remarks, I second and I sincerely congratulate the gracious lady from Samburu. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Kenya Roads Board Amendment Bill National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2024 be now read a second time. The Honorable Julius Ole Sunkuli, MP for Kilgoris, will take precedence.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I also want to join my friend Honorable Oundo in congratulating my friend here on the left, Honorable Lesuda, for this very, very well thought out bill. Mr. Speaker, this bill, which we support, of course, first and foremost, addresses one of the key problems of Kenya, and that is that our roads are very risky and that we need to deal with this situation. I think this is one of the very few countries where before you go anywhere, you must pray because the roads are risky. And they are even more risky, Mr. Speaker, where populations are higher. In these streets of Nairobi, we need some organization.